Folks, welcome to an all new episode of So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. This is your pal Ryan, and this is going to be your Saturday episode. Um, I guess I could make, anyways, it's going to be your Saturday episode. This is a Real Housewives of Orange County episode 9 recap. Plus, we're going to do some pop culture stories at the beginning. But I hope you are well on your way to an amazing weekend. Listen, this is crazy because I'm going to go to Mexico tomorrow for a couple of days, and I'm really excited about it. So I'm trying to get all my work done in time, including the Patreon episode. So it is just kind of going from thing to thing today. And I want to give a special shout out to Bravo because I reached out and I said, hey, is there any possible way to get this episode of Orange County just a hair early, a tad early, so I can work on the recap? Because today it's Thursday and I usually record this on Friday, but I will be now in Mexico. So they were nice enough to give me this episode today. So I've just got a couple hours with it. It doesn't air, I think, for 3 more hours here, but at least I can start talking about it and all of the insanity because this episode, you guys, it's not uneven in the way last week's episode was uneven, but there are a few high water marks. And I will say, just right off the bat, I gotta give props to Heather Dubrow. I just think the way she parents and the way she handles her family, this is nothing about her interacting with the other women, but I truly do appreciate it. I think a lot of these women, even if we talk about their personal lives or their lives on the show, it doesn't really take into account that a lot of these women are excellent mothers. Not all of them, but some of them. And I think Heather Dubrow, one thing you can say about her is she seems to be an excellent mom. And she actually has a line in this that I thought was fascinating about kind of the unique situation of wanting the best for your child, but also not exploiting your child, which when you're on reality TV, we see a lot of people exploiting their kids. And I thought this was a really interesting comment on that kind of scenario. Now, the other big story, we have Jen Pedranti, of course, we have Katie still kind of in the muck and the mire of the paparazzi episode with Heather Dubrow. And did she kill? At this point, now it's snowballed into this thing where it's like, is Gina to blame? And I'm like, I don't care. And I don't think any of these people are to blame. I think it's just a one off. I don't think there's some big conspiracy. It's like, oh, who shot JFK and did Heather Dubrow call the paparazzi? And is it Gina's fault or Katie's fault? I'm like, what? This is we don't need this season because we got enough good stuff. We have enough good meat on the bone to talk about. And of course, that is because Fun Lexi is back. Alexis Bellino is back, baby. Heather invited her to her function this week, so she's there. And not the majority, but a big crux of this episode is Shannon Beador finding out that John Janssen is threatening the release of these Ring camera videos. And I've got to tell you once again, I think I'm one of the first people to have said it like 4 weeks ago, is that this feels a lot like blackmail. Like, I don't know necessarily now. Like, if this isn't blackmail, I don't know what is. And it seems to be able to use the show to really intensify John Janssen's position and to put the fear of God into Shannon Beador. Now, once again, let's all just call it out, is that yes, Shannon is wrong for what she did, getting behind the wheel, that wasted, running into a house. Thank God nothing, thank God it only, hurt Shannon. But yes, in the wrong completely. But all the rest of this shit, I don't know how I don't know how John or Fun Lexi thinks that this actually helps John Janssen's case in any sort of way. And they keep talking about Johnny J's reputation. I'm like, what? Where are we? Are you talking about are you talking about the reputation with the fans, or are you talking about the reputation in like the greater OC area? Like, does John Janssen, like, does he walk down the street back in the day and people would boo him because of like the rumor, the rumors, and the nastiness of Shannon Beador spread? I'm so confused on what reputation we're saving, because I got to tell you, even after that, I don't know. I didn't give a shit when it came to John Janssen. It was like, oh, trash takes itself out. We don't need to see him on the show anymore. But yes, we do, because Alexis Bellino and the legend of John Janssen. I just don't know what this is all leading up to. And as far as reputations, like, listen, man, be a good person. Let people meet you for the first time and decide for themselves. And if people have prejudgment against John Janssen, I mean, that's just life, man. And that's just like being on television and being a part of this circle where we all talk about this shit. If you truly have this love in your life with Lexi, you have your family, all of that, who gives a rip what any of us says? Honestly. I mean, I just don't. I've yet to see tangible examples of how. Like, was there a big business deal that fell through because they're big Shannon Beador fans? I don't understand if John is as serious as we are made to believe how seriously he takes himself, then I would figure that he would just say, "Oh, f all of this." But that's why I think you know it's a little not black and white. There's a lot of gray here where I think John genuinely likes attention. And I don't think that's bad to admit. I mean, most of the housewives do, but I think John likes it. I think this is a little, maybe a little to the left of what he might have been raised thinking a normal life was. And that's can be kind of exciting, intoxicating. And I think maybe that's where this plays into a little bit because I think he kind of likes this life as much as he's complained about it at the same time. But I mean, I have to tell you, if John Janssen thought things were bad a year ago in his reputation, I feel like it's 10 times worse now. I feel like it's exacerbated anybody's feelings on John Janssen. And now people who didn't give a rip about Johnny J are like, wait, what? And it's not about like, oh, I hear he's a great love making machine. Like nobody's out there going, holy shit, this guy can throw down in the bedroom, the bathroom. He can throw down in the bathroom and the bedroom, according to Alexis Bellino. I don't know. Anyways, those are some initial thoughts. Let's get into some pop culture stories, and then we will start the recap of Shannon Beador's misery. That's what this is. The whole season. In fact, I had this idea in the shower the other day. What if they, like, how they do with movies and especially sequels? Like Batman 2 was Batman Returns. Like, what if we started having like themed titles for the whole season? Like this season, it wouldn't be Real Housewives of Orange County season 18. It would be Real Housewives of Orange County, and then it would say, like Shannon's Misery or The Ballad of Shannon or like I'm saying, like just summing up the whole season with one simple sentence. And I think that would be a very powerful. I mean, it would be very powerful. You would know what you're walking into this season. Oh, also, don't worry, we will give you an update on Tamra's self-destructing. I don't know what we call it. Like, I mean, her face is molting, her mind seems to be molting. So we'll talk a little bit about that and play some clips of Tamra's latest greatest hits and Vicki and all of this stuff. By the way, it just feels like it's super dark, but it could be less dark if you actually just put it on TV. Like, save this kind of energy for the television show. Like, Vicki, let's get Vicki back. Let's get Tamra back. Let's have it out on the show. But part of me, it's not that I'm conspiratorial, but I will say there's part of me when you take a player, and I say player because I believe, Tamra believes she's playing a game, is that you take a player like Tamra, I almost think she's reacting so strongly to almost pull Vicki back in so they can have this as a storyline next season. I know that's a little going down a rabbit hole, but it also is not out of the realm of possibility because I think Tamra, of all people, knows if you give something attention, it just breeds more attention. If you ignore something, usually that's your best way of just letting something fall by the wayside. But every step of the way, any comment Vicki has made, Tamra's been right on it. Any video that's posted, Tamra's on IG commenting right back to it. She's like, I mean, talk about being in the comment section. Tamra is a living, breathing, comment section. I think I'm going to have a stroke. She's a living, breathing comment section carnivore at this point. She's just eating it all up. And there's part of me that even though she's exhibiting the signs of extreme stress and sadness, there's still this part of me that thinks she enjoys the noise. She enjoys when she kicks up the dust. There seems to be this element of Tamra, and I don't want to, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm not. I'm just saying, can't we talk about not just the personas we see of these ladies on screen, but also the personas we see of them on social media? Because you have to take social media into account in 2024. You have to take, like I always say, these are offshoots of the show. These are like mini episodes that Bravo is not monetizing. But I think people like Tamra are able to monetize off this. I mean, she's able to get promotion for whoever did her face work. She's able to give promotion for her Twats podcast. It all feeds into something. And I think she's so aware of that. So, as much as we think she's shooting from the hip and spouting off and just being wildly kooky, like almost a separate side of Bethany Frankel, there's another element to it where I think it's a little bit deeper than that. I think um, she's playing the game, she's playing the game that she thinks she needs to in her head. So I don't know. We'll talk more about that because I find that really fascinating when this kind of stuff comes out and we get it in an off season when the current season is airing, but they're not shooting. Whew, man, Inception. Oh, also, I was on Jeff Lewis Extended today on Sirius, and he said that Shannon leaves for that Love Hotel show on Friday. So she's leaving to shoot that tomorrow, or by the time you listen to this, yesterday. So that's crazy. So I mean, after this episode, which is pretty intense for Shannon, I hope she's going in there with a clear mind. I really am rooting for Shannon. And it's going to be interesting to have cameras on her. It's going to be interesting to see her in a dating situation because it's all called Love Hotel. It's her, Countess Luann, Ashley Darby, and Giselle from Potomac, and they're going to be dating men in Cabo. So I'm seated. I just hope that Shannon is strong. I mean, I see all of those ladies being able to like date men like it's nothing. Shannon's the wild card where I'm like, this might be too emotional for Shannon Beador. And I want her to do good. I think we're all pulling for her, but man, whew. So yeah, the adventure starts for Shannon on Friday. And yeah, I hope it goes well. Okay. So here's some pop culture news. Let's see. Only Murders in the Building, the Hulu show with Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. They premiered their season 4 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago. And they just got picked up for season 5. I don't know how many murders in this building there can be, but at this point, I just feel like you would move. Only Murders in the Building. Well, maybe move to a house or maybe just a different location. But it is a really charming show. They have their nice little, they've created their own little universe. It has its own style. And I think that's the best thing you can ask for in a TV show is just to have your own galaxy, your own little world. And I think Only Murders in the Building creates a really wonderful world. And they, have a mystery each season that they're solving. But I think the camaraderie between the 3 leads and the other cast of characters, it's just really good television. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but I think it's just a very solid show. And there are, I don't know. I want to say it's unproblematic in the sense that I can kind of just turn it on and it truly is escape television. It's escapism at its best. Now, another TV show I want to recommend to you guys is on FX and it's called English Teacher. The first 2 episodes just premiered. I think you can get it on Hulu now, but it's an FX show. And it's created and stars this guy, Brian Jordan Alvarez, who you might know from social media. He's done this like cast of characters on his social media for years and years, and he to me is just hysterical. His characters are so. I love the Australian bodybuilder. I'm lifting heaps. Like you. I don't know if you guys remember the viral "Sitting is the opposite of standing" song from last year. Sitting is the opposite of standing. Sitting is the opposite of moving around. It's a very bad Brian Jordan Alvarez imitation, but he's just, I think, a phenomenal talent. And his show just came out, and the first 2 episodes are out, and it's about a gay English teacher at this high school, and it seems like a really solid group of characters surrounding him. You got the school principal, you got the PE teacher, and the second episode especially had Trixie Mattel, and it focused on a powder puff game where the football jocks do a bit where they dress up as women. I don't know if you guys had that at your high school. And Brian Jordan Alvarez says, well, we should actually get a drag queen in to really teach these male students how to really do it, how to really do this as an art. And there's, of course, social commentary that it doesn't hit you over the head with it. But I think with anything, it's just built on, or at least the first two episodes, it's built on solid characters. And the second episode was so damn good. The first episode was great. Second episode was phenomenal. So much so that you're like, oh, they're like, they're really good. The writers and the creators behind this, they kind of know what they're doing. So I'm really excited to watch the rest of this season. And I think to me, this is an automatic second season pickup. And you got to support these, linear storytelling shows that aren't reality TV. It's a good, it's a good breath mint in between courses of reality television viewing. So I wanted to recommend that to you guys as well. I think you'll really like it. Okay. Moving on to some Vanderpump news. So Jax Taylor, it's been a wild couple of weeks for Mr. Taylor. I guess a wild and wacky summer, if you will. But the kids are still fighting. So Zach Wickham, who, remember, he is Kristen Doute's best friend. He's one of Brittany Cartwright's best friends. And he was kind of antagonizing Janet. There seemed to be a little bit of bad blood between those two. Well, Zach Wickham tweeted today. He got all, I'm trying to find the tweet right now because I was like, oh shit, like we're really going in, which is great to see, but also very scary at the same time. Oh, this is the tweet. He tweeted, "Riddle me this. How is it possible you come out of rehab a worse person than when you went in?" Woo! Shots fired at Mr. Jax Taylor. Now, he doesn't say Jax's name, but we know it's Jax. They're all in Hawaii on a cast trip without Jax. So Jax must have done something on this Hawaii trip, even though he's not there, to have upset the waters or to have pissed off Brittany so much that she was like, I can't believe this asshole. And then Zach is like, F this guy. I'm going to air out this guy's dirty laundry. The other interesting thing about this tweet is that he says, how is it possible you come out of rehab a worse person? Now, rehab, I'm no industry professional, but I will say rehab is a very different word than mental health facility. Rehab is a very different beast. Now we're coming off of what Jax's announcement was this week of saying that he was diagnosed as bipolar and has PTSD. Now, I don't know enough about rehabs to know if that is a part of a rehab process, is also diagnosing, or if it really was a mental health facility with a little sprinkle of rehab. Who knows? I don't know, but I thought that was an interesting choice of words that you kind of need to pay attention to. And this was, I saw this later in today, but earlier today, Jax on his Instagram, he made this post. Please read. Special request to all you kids returning to school in the next few days. If you see someone who is struggling to make friends or being bullied because she doesn't have many friends or because they are shy or not as pretty or not dressed in the most in clothes, please step up. Say hi or at least smile at them in the hallway. You never know what the person might be facing outside of school. Your kindness might just make a big difference in someone's life. Repost if you agree. And the caption underneath he put, I hope all the kids and parents have a safe and happy school year. I do not have a kid, so I'm guessing that means school is back in session. So, hey, if you are a parent, congratulations for that. And also, I completely agree with Jax's message, but I think it's hard, right? It's like how I was just talking about Tamra. Is that there are real feelings about these things, right? Like he might really believe this, and this is a really good thing to post. It's really kind-hearted. It's an important message, but this is not the first time, and will definitely not be the last time that Jax posts things like this. Jax's social media has been littered with this stuff from the beginning of time. I mean, I've been tracking Jax now. I've been tracking Jax now for 7 years. And he always does this. Like, I feel like almost he would always do bad things and he would just post a string of like spiritual wisdom. He'd be like, if God is for you, who can be against you? It's like always that stuff that kind of like, a bystander would read and go, hey, this is a pretty good guy right here. Pretty good guy. That's how social media is dangerous. Because then, when Jax needs to pick me up, he knows he can like put out a message like this. And you can't come down on a message like this because it's such a great message. But Jax has a habit of doing this. And this is what I was talking about the other day and all joking aside, was that I just really hope he does the hard work. And I hope it's not just Instagram posts. And I hope it's like the real stuff, because the real stuff isn't fun. It's not sexy. It's not good for an Instagram post. It's like facing really hard truths about yourself. It's really fucking brutal and hard, and there's a lot of shame attached to it. And you have to question your own sanity at times of like, well, why did I do this? Or why did I say this? And this man has been known to lash out horribly at people. Like, even when I've been kind about Jax, somebody will immediately write in with, you got to remember, he's a fucking asshole, and he's said this and this and this and all of this, and that doesn't excuse this and this. And yes, it doesn't. It doesn't excuse any of it. All you can do, and as Jack says, is try to be a better person tomorrow than you were today. But that's just way more than a social media post. That's actually hard work. And from 2013, when we saw Jax walk on the scene on season 1 of Vanderpump Rules, the man's strong suit wasn't hard work. I mean, literally, they were just joking about him not wanting to have a job and living off of Stassi. Even Stassi's parents were joking about it in the first season. But this Zach Wickham tweet kind of just clues us all in that, hey, man, maybe he hasn't fully turned over that new leaf yet. And also, a new leaf takes time. A new leaf doesn't just happen. It doesn't happen in 3 weeks, doesn't happen in 3 months, might not even happen in a year. Think about it. Jax, how old is he? Like 60, 65? I mean, he has been living with himself for so long, and to break those kind of thought patterns, and if it truly is being bipolar, there is so much, including medication to get used to, including stopping after you do things and questioning why you did it. What was the reason you did that for? What was the result of that action? There's just a lot of introspection on everything. And I don't know. So I'm really curious how this all plays out, because you have that other element of being on television, of that is his reality of being on television. And I will say, it seems like this cast, where they might have empathy for him, it doesn't seem like they're going to let him get away with shit, because Brittany's there to also be able to share her side of the story. And Brittany doesn't seem like she has the mental issues that Jax has, but she's had to put up with the mental issues that Jax has. And that is a heavy burden to carry. And if Jax is still potentially treating her like an asshole, then I think Jax is going to hear about it. And Jax is going to continue to hear about it. And it's going to get brought up on the show. It will be the storyline on the show. So I don't know. Both of those together kind of made me a little nervous for Jax's new leaf. And I truly hope he can figure his shit out. Okay, moving on to a new topic. Oh, you guys, Camelot has fallen once again. I'm so sorry I didn't include this in the Thursday episode. I don't know how it escaped my mind, because this is a big Bravo story as well. That's right, folks. Brace yourself. Lenny Hochstein from Real Housewives of Miami, former husband to Lisa Hochstein, splits from fiance Katarina Nauk. This is from an article on Reality T. Lisa Hochstein is getting the last laugh in her divorce. Her ex-husband, Lenny Hochstein, just called it quits with his mistress turned fiance. It's talking about, we watched the hot mic moment with Lenny, where he's like, hey, I might not be married in a couple months, to his bro, caught on a hot mic. And ever since then, we had to watch Lisa go through what she went through, which was really torturous. And then Lenny go full tilt into this woman who, by the way, a lot of people said, wow, this seems like the definition of a gold digger. This seems like the definition of somebody with you for your money and your power. No offense, Lenny. I know you're a super hot guy, but it kind of reads like that. And Lenny confirmed to Us Weekly in a statement, we recently ended our engagement. I have decided to move forward with my life. Oh, very brave to not move forward with another 26-year-old. That is bravery. Now, it's interesting because Lenny's mother, remember, turned against Lisa, went hard in support of Katarina and Lenny. Lenny continued in his statement, I am proud. Lenny claimed that he had nothing but love for Katarina and her family, which is a far cry from how he treated Lisa during their breakup. He continued, I am proud of her growth as a woman and will be forever grateful for the time we spent together. Lenny, buddy, what are you doing? By the way, the whole thing, the reason why this is seriously interesting is that Katarina posted some things on her Instagram stories where it looked like she was kissing another man and she did not have her engagement ring on. She was like on a yacht somewhere on the ocean with this dude who she was kissing. So who knows what the actual story is? I mean, I don't know if Lenny's trying to position it now that this was his decision, but like, what is I'm proud of her growth as a woman mean? Does that just mean like I watched her get a year older? I'm proud her cells have decided to grace her with another year. And also, I mean, grateful. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This is like John Janssen type behavior of like, next year you're going to complain that this ruined your reputation. I mean, these were all your choices you made. It was all Jax's choices that he made. It was all John Janssen's choices that he made. Nobody forced him to be with Shannon Beador. And listen, we all fuck up. We all make mistakes, but I just think let's just one time as a family, let's just all share a good hearty laugh at Lenny's expense. I mean, who saw that coming? I mean, I thought they were in goals. I thought they were forever. That was my forever couple. So we salute you, Lenny and Katarina. And Lisa Hochstein, days like these, they don't come around very often. So I hope you enjoy the I told you so moment. And obviously, it's probably not over for Lisa because they have 2 kids together. There is so much probably trauma that she still goes through in dealing with this relationship. And she's, obviously moved on as well. But if you watch that relationship on Real Housewives of Miami, it seems like an interesting relationship as well. I mean, that's the thing. When you go out of, come out of these long-term relationships and then get into another serious relationship, that does a number on your head. In fact, in this week's episode with Jenn Pedranti, Jen's still crying over her ex-husband in terms of, spousal support, showing up to court, him acting like, he doesn't know who she is, that kind of stuff. And you can see how much it rattles her. And that's really hard then to build a new relationship when the ashes of the old one haven't fully left and gone away. Not saying that Jen's still in love with her ex, but you know what I'm saying is that sometimes it does take a little time to heal from something before you get under something else. And sometimes those relationships you already started off with on really uneven, unequal footing because your mind is still going all over the place. Like, sure, this guy or this girl is great and they're providing security and happiness, and it's much different than your last relationship. But if you haven't fully mourned that last relationship, there's no way that you can be fully present for this one. Listen, I'm horrible at relationships, so don't even listen to me. That is what I thought. This is what I think. It's just what I think. Okay, and one other story before we get into the Real Housewives of Orange County hellhole is that Katy Perry, who is about to release her new album in a couple of weeks, 143, she was on the Call Her Daddy podcast with Alex Cooper. And this is like the big thing that's being pulled from this episode, where she was talking about her husband or her partner, Orlando Bloom. And she says that, he helps keep things neat and tidy. And she gives a reward to him for that. So this is the quote she tells Alex Cooper. If I come downstairs and the kitchen is clean and you've done it all and you've done all the dishes and you closed all the pantry doors, you better be ready to get your sucked. I mean, literally, I don't need a red Ferrari. I can buy a red Ferrari. Just do the fucking dishes. I will suck your It's that easy. So Katy Perry saying, acts of service are her love language, and she rewards Legolas from Lord of the Rings, Orlando Bloom. She rewards him with sexy time downtown. The other thing, though, that comes out in the episode is she has a housekeeper during the week. Like, I feel like this is barely any effort on Orlando's part. I feel like the housekeeper is doing the heavy lifting. Like, have we made the same arrangement for the housekeeper? Like, I feel like Orlando Bloom and how much are they even fucking eating? Those people are all like stacked. There's not an ounce of fat on any of them. There can't be a lot of dishes. They eat stuff that like has no crumbs in it. It's just all like probably liquid stuff. There's no way that this Orlando Bloom has to do dick to get his dick. I mean, there's just, it's no. But she goes on to say, it's more of a message about women. It says, help around the house. Share the load or help the load be lighter. The load can be so heavy for women, and there's so many invisible things that we do. And it's literally about sharing that load. And listen, and Katie is willing to share Orlando's load if she no, hey oh, sorry you guys. I'm close to a vacation, so I'm a little more off than usual. But yeah, so this was wild. And I mean, like, she says they don't have the housekeeper on the weekends, and that's when Orlando has to really step up. I just feel like, what are we even doing here? Like, that's insane. I mean, good for Orlando to have that kind of deal. And I got to tell you, Katy Perry, I mean, Orlando Bloom, how much is Orlando Bloom actually working these days? I mean, it sounds like he's just slaving away in the kitchen for some sexual gratification from Katy Perry, which is not a bad way to go through life. Oh my God. Do you guys remember that Billie Eilish documentary that came out on Apple TV over the pandemic? And it was a great documentary about her life when she was like blowing up. And I remember she was like performing at Coachella, and Orlando Bloom came up to Billie Eilish and gave her like this deep hug. You could tell that he was allegedly rolling his balls off on Molly. He was so like, he was just like, his like eyes were like bowling balls, but he was like, oh my God. He was like being really deep with Billie Eilish. And then he leaves, and Billie Eilish is with her brother Phineas, and she's like, I don't even know who that is. And Phineas is like, dude, the dude from Lord of the Rings. She's like, no, oh my God. Oh, wild. That's crazy. I just love that Orlando Bloom was like, we're both celebrities, so I can give you a deep, intense Molly hug. Whew. Okay, that's enough pop culture stories. Let's get into the muck and the mire of Orange County. Before we get into this episode, we do have to give an update on Shannon. No, not Shannon, on Tamra versus Vicki 2024. I covered earlier this week a lot of Vicki went on her podcast with Christian Gray Snow, who's on the show last week, and really kind of read Tamra for filth. I played the audio 2 episodes ago, and I thought I thought she nailed it in a lot of ways. And for somebody like Tamra, that we will say this till we're blue in the face, somebody that dishes it out, somebody that has talked about people's families, talked about people. I mean, I really rubbed salt in their wounds. Shannon Beador this season is a perfect example of somebody just continually stomping on somebody after they're down. And Vicki says this thing, which this is why I question all of it. Tamra could have just let it go and it would have died out. But Tamra immediately responded, keeps responding. And it's going to continually be this war of words. And all it's doing is giving it more life. And then part of me, because I think very deeply about these things, part of me was like, well, is Tamra showing this much emotion because she's gotten such blowback for being so heartless this season, that she wants to show people that, like, listen, I'm a victim too. I feel emotions too. Look at me. I wonder if there's an element, and I wonder how self-conscious she is about that. If she is like, somebody that I think is very self-aware, but then does these things that seem wildly cringy. It's like the emotional side of Bethany Frankel going up to places and eating their chicken salad and then wanting attention for it. So it's really interesting because what we see of Tamra this season is the polar opposite of what she's trying to express in these videos. And my thing always is, if you don't want to see these things, if they are harmful to you, get off the internet for a period of time. Get off the internet. There's so much good television on. I mean, seriously, there's good television, good books. Hang out with Eddie, hang out with your family, like, do those things. Don't spend your day in a squabble with the OG of the OC, because all that does to me is really helps the OG of the OC. It helps Vicki get her name back out there, even though I don't think that's really necessarily what she's trying to do, but it also helps her and Christian's podcast. It gets more downloads for them. And I just feel like Tamra is helping speed up the process of all of these things that in the end will probably be good for Vicki. So I'm trying to think of this as strategy, because I feel like Tamra truly thinks of things as strategy. And I don't necessarily know what the strategic move here is, if this is what she's doing and if this is the right thing or not. And then also, doesn't Tamra have somebody around her, even Teddy Freddie Mellencamp, that can be like, yo, girl, hey, I'm your friend. Maybe chill the F out just for a moment. I don't like Vicki either, but can we just chill? Because it's starting to be a little unhinged. Like there's got to be somebody that just takes away her phone at a moment and said, hey, I'll give it to you in a week when your face fully heals. Like then you can have like phone privileges need to be earned for certain housewives. And I feel like Tamra potentially needs to be in a timeout. And this is hard though, because if you think about Tamra and her podcast, it's not only the show where we have all of this visual representation of every time she's done something wrong to these ladies or their families, but also on her podcast. I mean, she comments all the time about these women on her show. I mean, she was making fun of Vicki with pus on her belly when Vicki made the appearance on the episode of OC this season, which by the way, I think we all were. I was making the same comments, but like that's the same thing. That's why it's tricky for her to also do the podcast on top of this stuff because she's out there talking about everybody. So it's hard to have a leg to stand on when you have all of this mountains of proof why you should realize the name of the game because you're part of the person that created the game. Okay, let's first play. This is the Tamra reaction. Tamra just kept posting videos 2 days ago. This is maybe yesterday. Here it is.
No desire to cry.
Oh, sorry, that's Vicki. This is Tamra.
Hey guys, I love Aaron's screen.
Oh no, sorry, that was Tamra from 2 days ago. This is the most. I got it. Don't worry, I'm a professional. I got a license.
I've tried so hard not to listen to what Vicki had said about me.
How hard are you trying, Tamra? You literally have not put the phone down. If you don't want to hear what Vicki has to say about you, stop with the DMs. Stop poking around the internet. Shut it down.
And I just keep getting bombarded with it. I'm in just disbelief. In such disbelief.
How are you in disbelief? This is what you guys do. This is what you put out into the universe as well. How are you in disbelief about any of this? In fact, you should be, I'm in full belief. I'm in full belief. This is what this culture of reality shows does. This is what the housewives do. Whether you think it's good or bad is besides the point. It's just what happens.
This woman would go so low. Do you know what it's like to lose a child?
Losing a child has to be horrible. Like, honestly, that has to be the worst thing in the world. But she's not talking about a child dying. She's talking about being disconnected with her daughter, who is with Simon, her ex-husband.
Do you know what it's like? It's the most painful thing in the world to insinuate it was because I was on the show. No, that's not what it is. You win, Vicki. I don't know what you want from me, but you got it. You win, okay? You kick me when I'm down. You hurt me all the time.
You kick me when I'm down. What do we think Tamra's doing to Shannon this season? Do you want another drink? You need a drink? Lies, 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 lies. It's all kicking somebody when they're down. I would have so much more appreciated this message to be like, and now I understand what everybody's saying in regards to my behavior towards Shannon this season, because what Vicki is saying hurts so much because of how much I love my daughter, who I don't get to speak with. I mean, right then and there, you could have won everybody over in a fail swoop potentially. I mean, but just to go on like you can't believe this is happening. Yes, it's probably hurtful. And also, if that's not the reason why, you saying that's not the reason why, and then not giving us the reason why just keeps this whole thing going. And the fact that she still, you know, what I'm saying is if her daughter in any way was uncomfortable with Tamra's presence on the television screen, she's got to be equally as uncomfortable with Tamra continually speaking about the relationship that she doesn't have with her daughter. Like, it's got to make her even tenfold more uncomfortable with her mom, seeing her mom post things like this. I don't imagine her daughter, or I'm trying to imagine in a personal, if I saw this where I'd be like, wow, I'm really proud of my parents and this changes everything. No, it seems like more of the same. It seems like more of the same, just to me. That's my own personal opinion.
I can't do it anymore. I don't want any part of this. You can have my spot on the show. You can have whatever you want.
You can have my spot on the show. Okay, great. Vicki, take her spot. I mean, you fought this hard to get on the show, back on the show. And now you're like, oh, Vicki said like a 3-minute monologue about me on her podcast, and now, oh, I can't. It's too much. Too much. Take it. Take it all. Do you want my big bear house? You can have that too. Do you want all of these cut fitness weights that we haven't sold? You take it all. Is that what you want, you heartless Vicki? I don't know. Like, listen, I know there's a part of me, and I'm sure there's a part of you that really does feel for Tamra. But then there's also the other part where you're like, come on. Come on. For as hard as you go on everybody, this is what takes you down. And it's not because, I just want to also remind people, Vicki's not the one that brought up the daughter stuff. Tamra brought it up on this season of the show. And it's not the first time. And that's what these podcasts, all of us messy podcasters out there, we all talk about what we see on the show. So Vicki is commenting on that storyline, just like Tamra comments on everybody else's storyline. And I just know that Tamra is way stronger than she is portraying herself on this video, which then makes it seem like, to me, this is a bit of a bit. It's a bit. It's a thing I'm trying to figure out what it is exactly, because I truly don't believe Tamra is unhinged. Now, of course, she looks unhinged. Like I said, she looks like a burn victim. And I mean that with all the love in my heart. And I can only say that because I know the end results are going to be fantastic. She's going to look amazing. I can already bookmark this episode for when everybody is going, oh my God, girl, new face. Who dis? Who's your doctor? Drop that name. This is amazing. You look gorgeous. It's all going to be said ad nauseum. I can already see it. But right now she looks rough. And if you look this rough and you are willing to go on camera what seems like every couple of hours, it seems like you're a pretty strong person, which also then would allude to you being a pretty strong person when Vicki Gunvalson, who is not fully on this show anymore, says something like this. You pick it up and run with it. You make it the thing, because now we're going to play in a second. Vicki then has to comment on this video. It's this endless cycle. And listen, it is very dark. I'm trying to make light of this. And at the end of the day, what I said holds from earlier is that this should be a storyline on the show and not cobbled together on some podcast like mine, where you're piecing together all this battle and trying to make it an episode of this season of Real Housewives of Orange County.
Please leave my family alone. Please.
Please leave my family alone. Please. That ending, that was the Chris Crocker, leave Brittany alone. It's very emotional. And that, I think, comes from some part of a real place, somewhere buried deep, deep down within. But leaving family alone, you can't play this game, play it for a decade plus, and then come out and say, the game is rigged. It's not fair. And I want out. I didn't sign up for this. By the way, my doctor gave me this plastic surgery, and I'm drawing his name below in case any of you guys want that, because this was free for me. You know what I'm saying? It's just wild. And because I think Tamra is a smart person, I think there's way more to her reasoning besides just being emotional. There's got to be. It's got to be. Okay, so then then Vicki and Christian Grey Snow went on the Housewives Nightcap podcast with our friends Lauren and Emily. Love those ladies. And they did this interview. And here is Vicki talking about this video.
I have no desire to cry on social media and do what she's doing. Somebody told me that she's doing videos with her face, going through the transition.
Her face going through the transition. It's time to change.
I am all about family. And when I said that with Christian, it was, I would do anything. If my daughter decided tomorrow, I pissed her off about something and said, Mom, get off the show, stop showing your tits and stop embarrassing the family, I would do all three of those.
Now, you guys probably have a longer memory than I do. Has Brianna at some point told her to get off the show? I know Brianna wasn't too hip to the Brooke stuff. I don't think any of us were. but we all go through something. But I mean, listen, I like Vicki's coming from a place of strength, a place of family.
That's all I was saying. And it's not to hurt Tamra. It's not to hurt her daughter. It's just the facts. Her daughter was embarrassed by some actions that Tamra was doing. Then get off the show. Get off the show, because family is more important than money. Mm-hmm. And that's why people do the show, is because we get paid a lot of money at our time.
They get paid for this?
Being on. And I would walk away from every dollar and I'd give it all back if I would get Brianna back. If God forbid, she got mad at me about something and didn't talk to me, I would like get on a plane, fly there, and just say, we have to fix this right now. But that's all I was saying. It was not meant to hurt Tamra. I don't want to hurt Tamra. I don't come from a place of anger or hurt. I just don't want to be friends with somebody that can be that mean to somebody. She was so mean to Shannon. She kept saying, I didn't do anything to Vicki. It's who you are, and you're being so mean. I have no desire to.
Okay, so that was that clip. So this is Vicki explaining once again, this is just facts. I'm not trying to hurt Tamra, but this is just how I see it, okay? And then it goes even deeper than that, folks. And so when you talk about all of this stuff, it, I think the internet sleuths out there just dig up everything from years past. And I wasn't even aware of this until I saw it on a post. And somebody, I guess her daughter that she's estranged from, Tamra's daughter, made this very long Facebook post, August 8th, 2017. And I'm going to read you, I don't know if I'll read you all of it. It's long, but I'll read you some of it. And then I'm going to read you that Tamra immediately commented on this as well. And I just feel like, man, you got to stop commenting, especially if your daughter is in any way uncomfortable with being talked about this way. I know your daughter that's on the screen with you now has signed off on this. Hopefully she's getting paid. She's great on the show, but obviously this daughter hasn't. So for you to keep bringing it up, I don't know if it's necessarily doing the thing that she thinks it's doing. So this is what her daughter wrote about the whole situation on Facebook in a public post in 2017. I want to start by clearing some things up as my mother continues to talk about me despite me requesting her to stop speaking of me publicly, as I don't want to be associated with her on the show. For starters, I did not move out when my parents got a divorce, nor did I choose my father's side in the divorce. My parents separated in 2010. I moved out of my mother's house in 2013. Me leaving has nothing to do with the divorce. It has to do with the living conditions that my mother's house and the way she treated me and still treats me today. In regards to choosing sides, I actually chose my mother's side when my parents separated. This was due to the fact that my mother, the true parent alienator, would constantly talk negatively about my father in front of me and my siblings, putting us kids in the middle of my parents' arguments. She even called us Simon or Mini Simon when we did something bad, or told us that we were acting like your father. This parent alienation caused me to resent my father and take her side. However, as I got older, I realized what she was doing along with the other things that were toxic. The reason I left my mother's house are that she was neglectful, leaving us at home with no food, or simply ignoring us entirely. She constantly put herself first, and the biggest reason was that she was mentally and emotionally abusive. She was no mother to me. This was an unhealthy environment for all of us kids to be raised in. I have explained this to her numerous times in court, in therapy, and when we would meet up, that the only reason I am not leaving with her is because she continues to do the things that pushed me out of her house. Like talking about me on the show, press, social media, doing embarrassing things on the show, lying to me, and putting herself first, to name a few. I went to therapy with my mother for 3 years. I was forced by the courts and my father to try to mend the relationship with my mother. Unfortunately, my mother is unable to recognize that she is in the wrong and continues to put blame on everything else. If she would have put the effort into actually working on our relationship, instead of talking and crying about how much she misses me on the show and wishes things were different, she wouldn't have missed my entire high school career. Now, this was written in 2017. Tamra was just, crying about this emotionally on the show in 2024. Continues, my father had pushed me to have a relationship with my mother, forcing me to go meet her in and out of therapy. He even forced me to let her come to my graduation because it was a milestone. When I told my mother that she could come, I gave her a few conditions. All I asked was that she remains cordial with my father and my stepmom, and to not post anything about my graduation anywhere. Not even 2 weeks after I graduated, she posted a photo of me and shared it with her 1 million followers, knowing that it would get picked up by the press. The one thing I asked and have been asking for 4 years now has been not to talk about me because I don't want to be in the spotlight. But again, breaking her promises as per usual, she puts herself, her fame, her reputation, and her bank account before me. If she really wanted a relationship, she would have kept her promises and recognize that it is no one else's fault but hers that I do not want her in my life. Although I do not want to be in the public eye, I felt the need to clear these lies up and set the record straight in hopes that it will straighten my mom out so that she is held accountable and is forced to do the right thing. Um, it continues on and it's pretty brutal. I mean, that was kind of brutal too. And I'm going to read you what Tamra wrote about this in a second. But yeah, it was in 2017. And that seems pretty clear of don't talk about me. And so she's like, oh, how dare you, Vicki? How dare you? But Tamra, like I said, is the one that brought it up on the show after being explicitly asked not to talk about her. Now, Tamra says there is a reason that, there's a reason, or she explains this letter. So I'm reading this response from a great Instagram account called the Bravo Investigator, but I guess it initially originates from a website called All About the Tea. But I have seen this letter now posted in so many different like groups and stuff like that. So it seems like it's been spreading. But somebody wrote in a comment, is that a recent post from Sydney? My old eyes cannot see it, even trying to enlarge it. It's blurry. And Tamra responded to this comment saying, no, it's one her dad did years ago. So Tamra obviously reading through every comment, which also just can't be healthy. But she says that her husband, Simon, wrote this and not her daughter. Now, in the comments on this post, somebody writes, she said she wrote it and I believe her in regards to Sydney. But I mean, I can't speak to, if Simon wrote this insanely long Facebook post. I don't know, but I just would imagine the continuation of this. This is why you don't keep these kind of fights going. This is why you don't, because it just gets kind of bigger and bigger. And if Tamara is trying to reconnect with her daughter at some point, which I believe she definitely wants to do, it shouldn't, like I said, if she didn't comment or make anything of this, it would have just died. I truly believe that. It would have just died. I mean, Vicki had like a health scare. She almost died like a couple of weeks ago. I mean, there are other things to talk about, but also we should be talking about Tamara's behavior this season towards Shannon, towards Alexis. Those are things that are actually on the show that are interesting to debate and talk about and kind of horrifying. So to me, this is like a big ball of confusion that kind of gets us away from what we're actually seeing. And kind of in some ways promotes Tamra as a victim. I mean, Tamra's out there saying, leave me alone, I'm being victimized, when we're seeing her victimize people on the show. That's just my take on that entire mess. I'm trying to think. There was one other thing I saw that I wanted to read you too. Oh, yeah. Because, of course, this is also on the Bravo Investigator Instagram. Go follow them. Somebody had posted the Housewives Nightcap audio clip that I had played for you guys. And Tamra even wrote under this thing. It says, in all capitals, it was never about the show. Stop lying about a painful situation. You know nothing about it, you vile, and then put a pig emoji. So why do two of my children not speak to their dad? Is that the show's fault too? Have some sympathy for a tragic situation that has destroyed a family. Do you want to go after my parents and extended family too? They have no relationship with her either. Don't you have an elderly person to scam, fake chemo appointments to make, or a small animal to sacrifice? And then she does hashtag washed up has been. She lost me at the hashtag washed up has been. I'm like, oh my God, you're making up hashtags? What? I mean, come on, boomer. What do we do? Washed up, hashtag washed up has been. How seriously are you taking this if you're doing a hashtag saying washed up has been? But this is what I'm talking about. It's not the Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high. It's like when they go low, I go lower. So Tamra showing exactly why she's in the situation she's in by bringing up like, don't you have more elderly people to scam? Don't you need to go sacrifice a small animal or go to fake chemo appointments? Like, bam, bam, bam. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Just the continual negative reinforcement she keeps throwing out. Like, this is going to go on until the end of time, I'm afraid. So that is the week in Tamra and Vicki. Now, by the time you hear this on Saturday, I mean, shit, there's probably going to be like 10 more things that happen and they'll probably have reunited and be best friends again. Who knows? But also in regards to like, are you going to make fun of my extended family? No, you're not talking about your extended family on the show. You're not talking about, you did talk about your daughter. And I believe that is why Vicki picked it up and ran with it. But nobody owns the moral high ground here. Listen, we're all just worried about your face at this point. We want you to heal. So heal up, Tamra. And Godspeed. Woo. Okay, let's finally start this recap on episode 9. Last week, we had one of the worst games of the Traitors I've ever seen played. Remember, Alexis was not invited to participate in the Traitors game. So Alexis kind of won that episode. And remember, we're coming hot off the heels of last week's engagement between Fun Lexi and Johnny Big Dong J. So that's where we come from. But this week's episode, at least the edit that I got, didn't start off with like scenes from the previous episodes. We like start immediately in, and Heather Dubrow is in a car with Fun Lexi, and it immediately starts. And Lexi's like, "Oh, girl, we gotta talk, girl. We gotta catch up." And Heather's like, I am doing a wine collaboration. No, she's doing a wine collaboration in a family event in Sonoma. And before Heather says any other thing, Fun Lexi goes, "Yay! Yay!" She didn't even know if she got invited yet. And Alexis is like, "Yay! Sonoma!" Like literally takes her hands off the wheels, which can't be safe. And then Heather goes, "I have invited Shannon." And Alexis goes, fuck. Oh, God, one of the actual leads of the show was invited. I thought Shannon would get the Traitors and I would get Sonoma. I thought that would be the trade-off. Oh, Fun Lexi. And Heather goes, "Is there a space in which you all could agree to let everything go?" Just a space. Heather Dubrow creating space for people to let everything go. But I am on Heather's side on this. Can we all just let it? Can Alexis soften her Johnny J hard on and say, "Hey, Shannon is a huge part of this show. It's not really working the way we're going now." And I have a feeling she thinks it maybe is working because Tamra is kind of like by her side a little bit. But we flash back to that dinner that Gina threw a couple episodes ago, and it's Alexis going, "John's reputation has been demolished." And then another clip of Tamra going, "Shannon is blaming John Janssen for her drinking." And then another clip where Tamra is yelling at Shannon at that same dinner going, "You had to pay for everything for John." So these 3 clips in succession of the insanity that John Janssen has brought. Not Shannon, John Janssen. These are all John Janssen related clips. And Heather's saying, "Hey, is there a little space?" And Alexis in the car is like, "John Janssen's reputation has gotten so bad around town because of this. And she owes him $75,000. And then we flash back to the scene with Tamra and Shannon, where Tamra, already knowing that John Janssen was suing Shannon, going, "Oh my God, Shannon, John's suing you?" And Shannon's like, "I don't owe him anything." And then another clip from last week's Traitors episode where Tamra is telling Shannon and Vicki going, "They want you to clear John Janssen's name." And Shannon goes, "I am not going to lie. This is the Crucible. It's my name, the Shannon Beador name. I will not lie on the Shannon Beador name." I mean, this is intense shit, all because of this man's reputation. I will say it once again. Is this fucking man Elon Musk? I've never heard about John Janssen before Shannon Beador. I will never, like, where can we get a couple details on all of this reputation? Okay, so really fascinated about John Janssen's reputation right now. And so I just did a preliminary Google search on John Janssen's net worth. Who knows? This stuff is always usually wrong, but they say that John Janssen, his net worth, he's 62 years old, says he's 6 feet 1 inches. That could be a lie. Who knows? Let's see here. Yeah, okay. So it says his net worth is between 10 million and 20 million. So that's a wide berth between 10 and 20. But even if it's 10, come on, man. You're suing Shannon for $75,000. It says that he is serving as the vice president at Wood, Gutman, and Bogart. He's trying to Bogart Shannon's money. This is an insurance brokerage firm based in Tustin, California. It specializes in risk management services. John joined the company in 2001 and has worked there for more than 2 decades. Now, if we find out that John Janssen was fired from this Bogart place, because they're huge Shannon Beador fans, then I would understand some stuff. Did that happen? Were they like, John, we are firmly in Team Shannon's camp. We use Ship Station. We like salmon with cream cheese. And we think you have done this lady wrong and you need to leave. I feel like John Janssen would have a lawsuit against that Bogart firm, right? So this man owns his home. He owns a boat. He has, whatever. Now, the argument Shannon's making, and that Tamra seems to be very offended by, was she's saying for the first couple of years of their relationship, she was paying for everything. Now, I don't know. Like, and once again, John Janssen is not a main cast member of this show, but maybe Shannon was doing that knowing that he was well off and what's mine is yours, yours and mine. Maybe there's an element of trying to impress John Janssen and paying for things. And I don't know what the conversation was in regards to this facelift and this loan, but there was no contract signed. I mean, if that is the case, if there is some sort of contract signed, if there was this agreement to pay him back, then yeah, that's a different conversation. But we're not getting any of these kind of like actually hard, cold facts. We're getting fun Alexis saying like, yo, you've ruined my boyfriend's reputation. And now all he has is this huge dong and we make love so much. That's all he has to his name right now. But then when you hear he's worth $10 to $20 million, it's like, I mean, everybody's fighting like, oh, I'm fighting for the principle of the matter. Like John saying that about Shannon, and Shannon's like, I will not lie on the Beador name. It's just a mess. Okay, returning to this episode. Alexis tells Heather once again, I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to tell the truth. Then we flash back to Big Bear where Alexis is going like, I am so over John Janssen being abused. You want me to pull out the video? You want me to pull out the video? And they're all like, what video? And Tamra goes, the night of her DUI. Tamra already knows. Tamra's probably already seen these videos. Tamra probably already wrote the closed captioning for these Ring videos. I know Tamra has seen these videos, which then that's a tricky situation too. I mean, it's not revenge porn, right? Because there's no, I mean, that, by the way, God, could you imagine if that was the video? It's like a John Janssen, Shannon Beador sex tape. Woo! But Ring camera, I mean, if you're using them in a threatening manner, isn't that kind of revenge something? Anyways, Alexis goes, the videos are 10 times worse than you can actually imagine. She turns into the Babadook. She turns into a full tornado. It's a werewolf situation. Then we cut to a flashback of Katie telling Emily about this video. And Emily says, I'm afraid it's going to push Shannon to the point of no return. And Katie goes, she's done. Her reputation is completely done. Even my paparazzi friend, the head of paparazzi, will never shoot Shannon again. She's done. She's done in this town, just like John Janssen's reputation. Now, back in this car ride with Heather Dubrow, Alexis says, I need Shannon to shut her fucking mouth. It's lies. It's lies. I'm telling you right now, Heather, I'm about to unleash. Heather, like, looking at Alexis like, oh my God, I can't believe I agreed to let you drive the car. Like, Alexis is like, I'm so mad, I'm going to drive into this pylon. And Heather just has her mouth open, just flies collecting in the mouth. She's like, zoinks. And that's when we do the Real Housewives of Orange County logo. And then we get to some fun music. That was our little like teaser of like intense. And then you guys, it's the OC. So it's still easy breezy. We see the sun setting and it's like, yeah, if I can be anything, I want to be famous. Ooh. And we see some volleyball on the beach. And we land at Heather Dubrow's house, mansion. I mean, she's now living in like 10 different domiciles, but we land on one of Heather's mansions. We see Terry Dubrow. He's dressed in like a full black, awesome suit. Her son is there. Her son's 19, back from college, hugs his mom. And, Ace, his brother is there. The whole family is coming down. Ace is Heather's son, 13 years old. Now, Terry, there's like a pool table in the middle of the foyer. That's how rich they are. They're like, you know what? We've got enough space. Let's put a pool table in the middle of the foyer. Heather goes, Terry, you see that photo over there? I need it hung up. And Terry's like, are you fucking kidding? I have a pool cue in my hand. Don't we pay? What do you think I am, Orlando Bloom? No, we have people for this. I do botched things all day long. I look at people's face botched all day long. Anyways, he's playing pool with one of his daughters. And he's like, put the picture back on. I don't even know how you do that. I don't know. I'm playing pool with Kat right now. Okay. So that's what I'm doing. And Heather goes, if you can reattach a finger, I think you can figure out how to hammer one nail. In a talking head, Heather Dubrow goes, this lifestyle right now is insane. Back and forth, and back and forth. Sometimes in Orange County, sometimes in Beverly Hills. I have to see my mother-in-law in Orange County because she has dementia. So I make sure she's okay. And we flash back to a scene with Terry's mom where Heather is explaining to her saying, hey, we got a place at the Balboa Bay Club for the next several months. And so that way we can see you more often. I mean, this is what I'm saying. However you think about Heather as a housewife or caring about the paparazzi photos, this is the stuff where you realize her type A personality helps a lot of people. And you can tell, I swear to God, I'm not being paid off by big Heather Dubrow, not big pharma, not big Heather Dubrow. I just truly think in these situations, you can see how good she is with her family. And you can see how she really does seem to take care of all of them. So Heather goes, I'll go back to LA. I'm paying a lot of money in tolls. LOL. Now Heather is trying to get more of her kids to hang this photo. And I'm like, is this just a prop? Does the photo even need, like, is this a piece of art even need to go up? Or was this just like a bit to start the scene with, Heather says, here's the other thing. One of the main reasons we moved back to LA is because there's more inclusive opportunities for my kids. For Ace, making a fresh start for him has been wonderful. And this is where you really do love Heather Dubrow. Now, Ace is her trans son. And so what she's saying is that there are more opportunities, that people are more open-minded because, kids deserve to be in this kind of space where they can live their lives and be who they want to be. And I'm fully in support of Heather Dubrow on this. Anyways, Heather tells Terry, we are these kids' parents and we've not taught them any adulting skills. We've just taught them how to pay with credit cards. Heather says, for Katerina, the school she's at has such a high-level film production program. She is thriving. Imagine Heather Dubrow begging her daughter to put her in something. Have you seen my IMDb, Katerina? I am big, and I would love to be considered for your projects. I just would. So they're having this family time, and they're joking about being Beverly Hills now. Like, we're Beverly Hills now. And Terry's like, yeah, we're Beverly Hills people. We're very Beverly Hills. Yeah, yes. By the way, Terry in this almost sounds a little like Ken Todd. I can't believe it. We're Beverly Hills people. Can you believe it? Heather and Jacuzzi. I can't believe it. We're Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills. So Heather is just walking around. Terry puts the pool cues down finally. He's like, hey, let's go and join Mom and Foxy, our dog. So Terry goes, hey, so Ace, kids, now that you're here, do you want to live here in Beverly Hills or Orange County? And Heather goes, ooh. And Katerina goes, I would rather live here. It's a faster speed. My social life is a lot better. And then Terry's like, Ace? And Ace is like, probably LA for like school-wise, Heather says, let's be honest. Middle school is a cesspool of hormones and hideousness. If your child deviates from the norm, it's a rough road. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This kind of understanding as a parent. Because, I mean, I can't imagine going back to middle school in today's times. It was hard enough. I think God was pre-internet. I always joke about like how many lame poems I would have put up on Facebook in junior high about the new person I had a crush on, like how many bad Journey lyrics I would have put somewhere in like a bid to get people to show, like to see how emotional I was. But kids have to deal with a lot. So I really respect Heather in these moments. Anyways, Heather's hugging her kids and she says, having 4 kids of different genders, different sexualities, Terry and I want to set them up for success when they leave the house. This is my 4th child going through it, and I have to say, I really think Ace is finding his way, and that's all I can ask for. Well done, Heather Dubrow. Well done, Heather Dubrow. Well done, Heather Dubrow. Now the kids leave, and now Heather and Terry, they got some parent time here. And Heather says, listen, isn't middle school the worst? And Terry's like, well, 7th and 8th grade were not good years for me. Nobody would let me feel their boobs at all. 7th and 8th, we need a young picture of young Terry. I'm Terry Dubrow. I'm in middle school. Do you have a wart on your back? Can I remove it? I don't know why that's my young Terry Dubrow voice. Heather says, I mean, kids are mean. The age group is terrible. And Terry's like, not a good time. Not a good time. Not fun times. Heather says, I want to protect my kids and I don't ever want to tell their story for them. So I'm trying to balance and let them find their paths. I mean, that's it. That's what I'm talking about, that message earlier. Like, man, what a delicate balance. But she does seem to be doing it all. She continues, I don't want to hide my kids because we love them and support them. We're not trying to hide them, but also not having them feel exploited either. It's a dance, she says. And I just got to imagine Terry's can't be a good dancer, but she said it wonderfully. She said it beautifully. And it really ties into what we were just saying about Tamra and her daughter. And like, it is this delicate dance of, yeah, we are proud of our kids, but we also don't want to use them for storylines. We don't want to use them out in the world. We want to be able to have them find their own way. Terry's like, this is pretty good. Thank you very much, Heather Dubrow. Thank you very much. And Heather goes, thank you, Terry Dubrow. Thank you. And then he's like, let's go have sex. I just can't imagine Terry Dubrow and Heather Dubrow bumping uglies. I feel like they're Ken and Barbie, just like smooth body parts. Like, no, I just can't picture this. Now, I will say the editors of Real Housewives of Orange County did something insane. So Terry's smiling, and all of a sudden they make a circle box, like a circle around Terry's face, and they zoom out, and then they zoom into the moon, the Orange County moon over the ocean. They put Terry Dubrow as the man on the moon. The man on the moon. He's the man in the moon. It's such a small moment. Please tell me you guys saw this. They all of a sudden put a circle around Terry's face, and then the moon, they superimpose it on the moon. And now we're in Orange County, the ocean. And I don't even know why they did this shot, because nothing happens. It's literally the next day. We watch the sunrise. It is so completely ridiculous. Because Terry has this smile like Mr. Miyagi at the end of The Karate Kid, like, you done good, Daniel-san. And Terry's like smiling, and then they make him the moon. What does that even mean? Like, are they going to make him a California raisin next week? Hats off to anybody out there that's editing Real Housewives of Orange County. You guys have done very good this week. But just once again, I think this is the right way to be able to show your family and to also reach out to others that are potentially going through similar situations. And I just want, is that Alexis Bellino has a similar situation in her family with a trans child. And this is where I always, I kept saying from the beginning of the season that Alexis also has a story to tell that has nothing to do with Johnny J. And it is such a great disservice to Alexis Bellino that is her sole focus and mission. It's like, girl, tell us your story. Don't tell us John's. Tell us your story. Even Carlos King, who was on the podcast on Thursday, even admitted, like, yeah, I mean, she's doing a lot of heavy lifting, and potentially that's in order to get a full-time spot next season, which, God, a wedding season of Alexis and John Janssen. I don't know if my poor heart can handle that. But yeah, once again, I just want to say hats off to Heather Dubrow. Now we're over at Emily Simpson's place, and Togo, their dog, is there. Shane Simpson is in the house. He's in the room, and just she's packing for her trip with Heather, and he's just like throwing stuff around her, trying to disrupt the whole process. And Emily says, yeah, I'm going to this thing for Heather for charity. She works with this organization called Family Equality. So there's a fashion show. And when she says fashion show, Shane, like, he's wearing his cool jean jacket, and he like puts his hand under his armpit in the jean jacket. I almost thought he was going to smell it like Mary Catherine Gallagher, Molly Shannon, of like, but he just puts his hand in his armpit for 1 second. And Emily goes, she asked for our measurements for this. She asked, no, she goes, she asked for our measurements. And then we cut to a talking head and a producer goes, what are measurements? And Heather goes, yeah, Shane says I say it wrong too. Isn't it measurement? And the producer goes, measurement. And Emily goes, measurement. There's an A in there, measurement. I'm from Ohio. It's a measurement. No, Emily, it's not a measurement. I was born in Columbus, Ohio. I only lived there for a very small, tiny period of my life, but I've never thought of saying measurement. Hey, what's your measurements over there, guy? I'm Emily Simpson. What are your measurements? Hey, what's your inseam on your measurements? No, Emily, come on. By the way, what if this is Emily's storyline for the rest of the season? Shannon's like, I heard you say measurement. That's how John says it. Why would you do this to me? Oh, Emily. Anyways, she's telling Shane, I'm wearing like 3 different outfits and I hope they fit. And then Shane, without missing a beat, goes, because you had Taco Bell last night. Boom! You just got Shane Simpson. Da, 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 da. And Emily kind of like, LOL, Shane. Yep, because I had Taco Bell last night. Okay, so we cut out of there and we go over to Tamra and Eddie's Love Shack, their house. And her daughter comes in, Sophia, who's 18. And Sophia's like, where are you going now, Mom? Because she's packing. And Tamra's like, Sonoma. I'm going to be walking in a fashion show. And Sophia's like, you're in a fashion show? And Tamra goes, yeah, with my graceful walk, and does a little weird walk. And Sophia goes, and your 5'2" stature. I love this Sophia. I'm telling you, Lydia Dietz energy from Beetlejuice. I love her. Love her. It's like back in the day when you would be like a teenager, you get a black light and smoke cloves and listen to the Smiths. Like that. I love Sophia. Tamra goes, hey, listen, there's no, hey, I can't do anything about that, Sophia. Don't short shame me. Come on. A fun scene. And then we go over to Heather's LA penthouse. So far, we visited one of Heather's mansions and now her LA penthouse. Heather goes, she has her assistant in the room. She's like, people can go to the spa. And then after the spa, we were going to go wine tasting. And this is Emma, Heather's assistant, which has got to be an insane job. Hats off to Emma. We salute you. You deserve some sort of combat pay. Heather goes, one of my main missions is to support other people's families that don't have the support and resources that we do. So she's packing with Emma and she's like, I can't believe this is finally here. I can't, family equality is in an amazing LGBTQ plus organization that I've worked with for over a decade. We see a photo of her and Terry on the red carpet for a family equality. And she says they are on the front lines for helping legislation to help families thrive and survive. She goes, Emma, have I told you that I pack with tissue paper now? And Emma goes, no, I literally just started working yesterday. Please don't fire me. So, why do you do this? And she goes, okay. So, when you go to a store and you buy something and they wrap it so pretty in tissue paper, and when you come home, it's perfect and it's not creased. Well, I do that now as well. And so we see her. I mean, I feel like I just complimented the hell out of Heather. And now I'm like, oh my God, she's losing touch. She's lost touch with reality. We are watching her literally be a personal dry cleaner for her own clothing. She goes, I love this. My friends make fun of me, but this is so good. It is a little time consuming. I'm not going to lie, but once you do it, and it's, by the way, it's that fucking crinkle paper, like when you go to a doctor's office and you have to sit on the thing and you get the doctor's crinkle paper and like, there's just you're already scared about being at the doctor's and then you sit on that thing and the crinkle paper is like, and it's just wide and just like, oh God, the crinkle paper. Like, so I'm just getting triggered. I've been to so many doctor's appointments in the last month, and it's always that fucking Dr. Crinkle paper where you're like, and then like my fat butt like rips it always, or there's like, oh, how did the crinkle paper get sweaty? All this, it's just a complete gross. So I'm like, what, you fucking white, you're closing this? You do, like, this is insane. This is truly insane how the Dubrow behavior. She's like, then you just put it in the luggage and it's good. Voila. Emma's like, this will be my last day. This will be my last day. Okay. So then we cut on over to Jenn Pedranti. And she's FaceTiming with Katie Janela, the new housewife. And you could tell that Jenn has been crying. But Jen's like, you look pretty, Katie. Where are you headed, Katie? And Katie's like, to get my nails done before Sonoma. And she's like, that's why I'm calling you, Katie. You know I'm not going with you guys, right? I'm taking a separate flight. I don't know when I'm getting in. It just depends on how court goes. In a talking head, she says, it has taken 4 years to get this court date set, and I am not going to miss it. It is finally going to get the temporary child support and alimony so I can stop. So I can stop just shacking up in places without paying the actual rent. I need this money. Anyways, we get a 3 weeks earlier flashback with one of her lawyers saying, like, listen, we're going to get a Band-Aid support payment, from your ex that'll put you in a better financial situation. And Ryan, her boyfriend, is there in full Ryan clothing. It looks like he's wearing like some kind of like button-up race outfit because it has like a patch here that says member and a patch here that says Trailer Park Golf Club. This guy dresses like he's on season 2005 of The Bachelor. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy must have fucking loved Ed Hardy. He was like, I'll fuck up an Ed Hardy t-shirt. He reminds you a little of like a better in shape John Gosselin from John and Kate Plus 8. You remember when they went through that, their initial separation and divorce, and all of a sudden John Gosselin was like hanging out with the guy who like invented Ed Hardy, and he was on a yacht, like chain smoking cigs with like, who was that girl? I think the girl that he was with also was dating like Lindsay Lohan's dad. And you're like, I just fucking watched you and your wife trying to raise these 8 kids, and now you're on a fucking yacht wearing Ed Hardy. That's sometimes the vibe of Ryan's whole dress. Anyways, the lawyer David goes, we're deciding if he just wants to make an offer and be done, or do you want to keep going? So Jenn says progress after all this time feels amazing. So back to the phone call with Katie, she says, I had mediation. I just hung up and I don't know. And she starts crying. And Katie's like, are you okay? What happened? And she's like, I just feel like sometimes, Katie, I can't do all of this. I can't. And Katie's like, I know, girl. I know. It's so much. I remember. I really wish I could go with you. I wish I could skip my flight and go with you. It is super heavy, Jenn. Katie says, when I left my ex-husband, I left with nothing. No alimony, no large sum payment, no money. Ugh, she says, I even thinking about it. I just looked at one of his photos today and his hairline doesn't even like him. It's chasing away too. Woo! Katie just burned her ex. Now back in this scene, Jenn goes, God only knows what I'm putting in this damn suitcase. I don't care. I'll drink wine and sweats if I have to. Love you, girl. Bye. Love you. So she hangs up that phone. So obviously Jenn in a very emotional, soft place with her ex and all of these finances looming. She needs money. Anyways, we pull up to Heather in like a big black SUV pulling right onto the tarmac. This is rich when you are pulling directly up in a tarmac. And at this point, I'm kind of like, Heather, you let me down. Why don't you have your own PJ yet? I feel like, Terry, I'm going to need you to do 40 more seasons of Botched because I need a Gulfstream. Anyways, all the black SUVs start pulling up. Fun Lexi gets out of hers. Thank God John Janssen didn't drop her off at the airport. Tamra in full, like, Tamra's in like a Mumford & Sons hat. She's got the whole outfit. We see Emily Simpson go out of her SUV. This is, by the way, this is the second episode where it's just been a string of black SUV truck car things. I drive a Corolla, so I'm like truck car things. But I do wonder if now the OC is fully taking care of all of their transportation. They have to be, right? Anyways, Katie gets there, and then Shannon gets there. And this is very, she's a lady of the people. She comes out with like Ziploc bags. She's like, I haven't packed my toiletries yet. And she's like opening up her luggage on the street or on like the cement. She's like, I just broke the bag. Oh no, it's not zipping up. Everything's a fucking sketch with Shannon Beador. She's like, I gotta sit on it. I just gotta close this. I can't. Anyways, Heather gets on the private plane first, and Heather goes, I'm going to tell everyone where they're going to be seated. And Emily's like, yeah, is there a seating chart? And Heather goes, yes, you three are here. And that's like Gina, Katie, Janella, and I think Alexis. And then Heather goes, the rest of you, Shannon, Tamra, Emily. Heather goes, if I can keep Alexis and Shannon separated on this trip, I think maybe we'll be okay. But at the same time, sometimes my mind will like zone off and I'll write like fan fiction during the episode. Not that it was boring, but I was just like, God, what if? What if we said like this plane? And by the way, nobody gets injured, but we get a plane crash, right? We get a plane crash. And then all of a sudden, this becomes like a season of that Showtime show Yellow Jackets or a season of Lost. Can you imagine that? I mean, that's the final frontier. It like we lose a plane of housewives on a deserted island, and they have to forage and like fight for survival, like very Lord of the Flies. Can you imagine that? They're all trying to like post selfies, but there's no cell phone service. And the glam alone, like, I feel like Heather would like make makeup of like, I have gotten the blood out of this crab and it makes for perfect blush. Anyways, that's what I was writing in my head as I was watching the scene. In the background, we see Emily Simpson already taking like selfies of herself on the plane. And Shannon's like, this is very cute, this plane. Heather goes, also, I don't want to sit next to Katie. She's still holding the paparazzi thing against Katie. So Katie sits next to Gina, and Katie goes, I'm actually shocked that I'm not below where they put the dog crates. And then Gina and her talking head goes, clearly Heather's over our problems. I'm out here with the girl she hates. So Gina thinks she's still being punished by Heather as well. So we take off. Shannon's like, here we go. And Heather's like, hold your glasses, because, you know, they all have champagne. And Gina's like, I just get motion sickness. I'm going to throw up on you, Katie. And Katie says, are you going to talk to Shannon, Alexis? And Alexis goes, I mean, I tried to wave at her and I said, hi. I tried to wave, but then a bunch of condoms fell out of my purse because me and Johnny J were very safe with our sex. And I just felt so horrible. No, I love that Alexis goes, I did wave to her. Alexis goes, I mean, I tried. It's not the right time. It's not the right time, Katie. I want to enjoy Heather's event. And Katie's like, okay, yeah. Katie's like, yeah. Anyways, Emily asked Shannon, and this is where it gets a little dicey, because Emily's like, are you dating Shannon? Do you want to date? And this is the thing where I don't think we would ever even get an honest answer out of Shannon Beador at this point, because the person that's dating her ex is like 10 feet away. I mean, like, no, because you know everything that she says goes in Alexis's mind. She tells Johnny J, and then it becomes another scene down the line. So Shannon goes, I don't want to date. And Alexis is like, you could just go out and have fun with somebody. Just don't buy him any shoes. And Shannon makes a face like, don't. And then Tamra, sitting on the opposite end of the plane, goes, what do you mean shoes? What are you talking about? Shoes. I heard shoes. And this is what I'm talking about. Tamra knows exactly what she's doing. And Emily goes, Ferragamo shoes. And Shannon's like, stop it, Emily, stop it. And Gina's like, you got to be careful what you tell us. We just can't help ourselves. In a talking head, Gina goes, before we got on the plane, Shannon showed us a picture of Alexis and John at an event. And we see a photo of them at a DirecTV event, and it says Oscar party. And I want to tell you guys, if you go back and listen to this episode, we were there. We were at this DirecTV. It was an Oscar viewing party at Spago. It was insane. It was awesome. But Johnny J and Alexis, and I remember talking to somebody that was working the event, because Vicki Gunvalson was there and Shannon was supposed to come with Vicki. And I didn't realize they went to Sonoma right like the next day after this trip, but then found out that Alexis and John were going to be there. So Shannon didn't go. Because do you blame her? I mean, this is what I'm talking about, how uncomfortable this has got to be. Imagine one of the perks of being a housewife is being able to go to these glitzy events with your friends, with your housewives, brethren, with the sisterhood, and being able to enjoy yourself. And then all of a sudden, at the very last minute, you find out that Alexis and John are going to be at the same event. Now, it was a big space, but it wasn't like huge. You saw everybody. Like Erica Jane was like 5 feet from me. You had Phaedra there. I mean, it was a who's who. You had a lot of the cast of The Traitors. I mean, I was like a pig in shit. It was wild. Danny Pellegrino was there, and we were like, holy shit, look at this. I remember Evan Reel and Danny Kashmir from Page 6. They were there, and I was just like, this is what Meredith Marks was there with her Meredith Marks caviar. But yeah, Johnny J and Alexis came once the party started, and they still walked the blue carpet or the red carpet. And Gina goes, well, she pointed out these shoes Shannon did in the photo and said, these are Ferragamos. These are the shoes that she bought him. She bought John the Ferragamo shoes. Emily in a talking head goes, well, she said it under her breath in a very Shannon way, like, I bought him those shoes. Emily does some good impressions. She does like a very jerky head motion for Shannon Beador. Shannon Beador in a talking head goes, well, listen, I'm glad you're still wearing those Ferragamos. I'm glad you're still wearing those Ferragamos. Okay, let's find out how much a pair of men's Ferragamo shoes. Are these like a Payless shoe? Men's Ferragamo shoes. Okay, what do we think this is going to be here? Shopping. Here we go. Oh, shit. Okay. Okay, so what I'm seeing, $895 for Ferragamo shoes. Okay, here's one for $189 at Saks Fifth Avenue. It's a special offer. They only have size 10. If anybody's out there is size 10. But these Ferragamos, I mean, it seems like if Shannon bought him 75 pairs of these Ferragamos, we're even Steven on the facelift. That's a lot of money for shoes. Holy moly. I spent like $120 on a pair of sneakers last year, and I still feel guilty about it. Like, for real. Like, I've been wearing this sweater. You probably see me in this, not this sweater, but this other sweater Rebecca got me. But it's from like Target. It's like $30. And it's my favorite thing I own right now because it's like a little funky, a little weird, but it's like $30. Like, that's $30. Like, you know, but can you imagine? Whoo! Anyways, Gina's like, yeah, you know, she also said the belt he was wearing, she bought as well. So bought the shoes and the belt. What if this was like a sign from Johnny J of like, look at me, Shannon, still in those shoes and the belt. And also I'm wearing the crotchless underwear you bought me as well. Anyways, it's super weird and it's super just hurtful. That's what it is, just hurtful, because put yourself in that situation, minus the housewives of it all. It would fucking suck to see your ex at this party that you didn't know they were coming to. Tamra now screams across the plane, so much so that I thought like the private jet plane flyer were going to be like, hey, who's screeching back here? Is Bethany Frankel on this plane? Tamra screams, Alexis, what kind of shoes did John Janssen have on last night? Just screams it. And Alexis goes, I don't know, but I believe it was Ferragamo, I believe. And then Emily goes, oh, yeah, they were Ferragamo. Thank you. And Katie turns to Alexis and goes, what? And Alexis goes, Katie, the red carpet. In a talking head, Alexis goes, a 60-year-old woman is dissecting a photo. And then Tamra in a talking head goes, his eyes, his nose, his teeth, his nipples, his balls, all the way down to his shoes. I love that these ladies are making fun of dissecting a photo when all I see out of them is dissecting everything, dissecting comment section. That's what we do. That's what we do with social media. Fuck yeah, you're going to zoom in on this shit. I mean, it is crazy. You don't want to do it. It's healthier if you don't. But yes, that's what's going to happen in those scenarios. And this is what I'm talking about. Tamra just like jumping in, making fun of Shannon. Shannon in a talking head goes, he didn't know half the designers were until he met me. He was an old Navy man. He didn't know half the, he was a Walmart clearance kind of man. Heather Dubrow in a talking head goes, let me see. $375 to $475 for these shoes. Oh, they aren't that expensive. Of course not to you, Heather. You wipe your butt with $500 bills. Do $500 bills even exist? So that was a little cute bit. Anyways, Emily goes, oh, God, way to go. Good job, Tamra. Good job. You know, because Tamra just made such an issue of it. And Katie's awkwardly texting on her phone next to Alexis, shaking her head. And Tamra goes, oh, God, it was going to come out sooner. That's what I do. I'm Tammy Sue. I dish it out and I can't take it. It would be great if Vicki popped up out of the back in storage, like hiding, going, "What about your daughter?" You know, and Tamra immediately like, "Leave my family alone, Vicki. Leave her alone." Ugh. Anyways, the plane makes it. They do a landing. Gina's like, touchdown in Sonoma. Alexis in a talking head goes, "Oh my God, are we in high school? Find a different thing to focus on, Shannon." Which is just so funny because every time we see Alexis on the show, that's all she focuses on as well is John Janssen. Of course, she probably didn't know how the edit was going to be, but that's all. And talk about high school. Alexis, you literally had a sewing circle with the girls in Big Bear talking how you get dicked down so many times a night. Come on. Like, this is the type of non-self-reflective. I don't know. It's hysterical. Okay. They're all in the cars. They're all on their phones. They're in separate cars. Emily and Shannon are in a car, and Emily's like, "Are you okay, Shannon?" And Shannon's like, "Uh-huh." And then in the other car, you have Katie, Alexis, Gina, and Alexis goes, "What am I going to do if I'm with Shannon? What if I want to just say to her, I know it's uncomfortable for both of us. Can we just put it aside for the benefit of this group and for Heather? Can we just say that?" So I'm like, okay, well, that's something. Of course, Heather is not taking, Alexis is not taking into account that she's also told all of these ladies about the blackmail ring camera footage. Now, in the other car with Heather, Tamra, Emily, and Shannon, Tamra is like, "Oh, what is it?" Sorry. Alexis is continuing on with Gina and Katie going, "I don't want to make it worse. And I don't want to live in this purgatory right now." And Gina kind of leans to Lexi and goes, "You can't release the videos. You can't release those videos. You can't." And then we flash back to Tamra in another scene going, "Apparently, John has videos from the ring camera of the night of her DUI of Shannon that's bad." And Gina going, "You don't want to be that executioner. You don't want to be that." And Alexis goes, "Well, I want her to understand how bad she hurt people." And Gina goes, "Oh, I get that." And, Alexis is like, "The devastation." In the talking head, Gina's like, "I truly believe that something like this has the potential of pushing her right over the edge." And Katie in a talking head says, "The videos are a ticking time bomb. I do not want to be there when it explodes." In the scene, Alexis goes, "It's not my fight, but he's my man. He's my man, and I will fight to the death." I mean, I got to tell you, man, I am loving this season. I am loving Gina. Also, Gina does a major faux pas in this episode in a bit. But I got to say, I love her for it. Did I do that? Ooh, it was great. But like, I love Gina going, "Come on, you between us, you don't want to release these videos. Come on." And the thing is, she's like, "I don't, but I do." And there is part of me that just feels like she does want to release them. She wants to embarrass Shannon. And I think it's for John, of course, but I think she's got skin in the game as well. Anyways, we cut to commercial. And God, it's just insane. Anyways, we're in Sonoma. We're pulling up to these like wood cabins, these beautiful wood cabins where they're staying. It's this place called Dawn Ranch. All the ladies step out of their cars and they get welcomed by the guy that's running this place. Looks like Fuke, David Cross from Arrested Development. He kind of looks like that. "Hello, welcome to Dawn Ranch. I am Teach. I am the general manager. Welcome." And all the ladies are like, "Thanks. Let's get you checked in, ladies." So they're walking through the grounds. All the ladies are kind of talking about like splitting up for lunch, which usually, that's classic Housewives trope of get the girls together and then we split them off for some sort of meal or function so we can talk shit about people in the other group. But all the ladies are just astounded at how beautiful this is. They all go into their little rooms. It's very cute. Heather has a bigger room than the other ladies. Of course, she has a fireplace with a fire going in her room. Katie's already using the teapot in her room, burns herself. Amazing. No, turns out there was a spider in the teacup. Katie says, "I am not a nature girl. There are ticks and bugs. that's a beautiful scenery. I'm going to sit here at the resort with a cocktail and look at it from far away. Yeah. So anyways, Tamra leans her head outside the door. It's like, who's my neighbor? Who is it? And it's Emily. And Tamra goes, is this what it's like to live in Ohio? You just sit on your porch and yell at your neighbor? All Tamra does is yell. And then Emily goes, yeah. And then a cow walks by. No, Tamra, this is much nicer. Then Alexis steps out and goes, Katie, we're going to go find critters. We're going to go find John Janssen's private parts. I call them critters. Anyways, Katie's like, no, I don't have bear spray. Are you kidding me? I have hairspray. And Alexis goes, bring that. Fun, Lexi. So we cut out of that scene. And we have Gina and Emily together doing little comedy bits. So the groups that we split off into are Tamra, Jesus Jugs, and Heather Dubrow. And then at the other table, we got Shannon, Gina, Katie, Emily. And Shannon walks up and they're like, God, you look like you're dressed for a funeral. And Shannon's like, you don't even want to know. And then the waitress comes to, get their drink orders. And Gina's like, I want a hot tea with lemon. Yeah. And Katie orders a glass of the Kith and Kin. And then this Emily, she loves her espresso martini. She orders one of those. And then Shannon says, I'm going to order one thing because we're on vacation. Can I do a vodka soda with cranberry, please? And Gina at a talking head goes, I don't know, man. Tamra's here, and she's on you about that. You're also with me. I'm sober. So it should be even easier to pass on it. I mean, that is kind of interesting, right? It's what do you guys think about this? And I will say in these situations, that's when probably Shannon needs a drink most of all because her nerves are completely frayed because of Alexis, because of the situation with Tamra. But then you kind of make that argument in your head of like, well, if she's drinking to alleviate stress, that's not good either, right? That's not great. Heather pops in to say hello to the other girls and go, I hope everybody's rancho relaxing. I see everybody's gotten drinks. Here's the agenda. We're going to send you ladies to the spa and just have a great afternoon. Jen's going to be meeting us up later. And then we cut over to Tamra and Alexis. And Tamra is saying, oh my God. I mean, your event last night just caused a stir. There are stories everywhere. Wow. And Alexis kind of half smiles. And Tamara's like, you open social media. You're right. You're breaking the internet right now. This is what I'm talking about of Tamara just encouraging. Oh, you guys are breaking the internet right now. And you can tell Alexis is like, oh, am I? Little old me and Big Dong John? Are you kidding? Oh, tell me more. Tell me more. We cut back over to Shannon. And Shannon's like, I mean, never in my wildest dreams did I ever think he would be doing interviews on a red carpet. I mean, this is like, talk about amping up your public persona. Did John Janssen ever do red carpet interviews with Shannon Beador? Like, he's fully out. Hey, I'm a big movie buff. It's Oscar night. Gina goes, it seems like he's very angry that she's going around talking about him, but people break up. You talk about it. Shannon in the talking head says, John said, you ruined my life by making it so public. And now he's on Oscar party red carpets. Gina in her talking head goes, they're referring to it as their red carpet debut, as if they have a whole tour of red carpets coming up. I'm telling you, perfect talking head from Gina. Emily says, I don't know what his problem is. He's got money, right? And Gina goes, he owns a small stake in a company. And Shannon's like, he owns like a small stake of one of the divisions and he has some money. So maybe you're looking for it in all the wrong places, like from me. And Katie goes, how's that going, by the way? And I'm like, oh, don't open the store, Katie. And Shannon goes, I have a deadline today. So, and they're like, today to respond, they say. And Gina's like, what are you going to respond, Shannon? He says, I countered. I offered him a lot of money. I am not going to go a penny more. And Emily goes, can I ask what it was? About half. It was about half of 75. About half. It's always, it's a half. And Katie's like, that's a lot of money. Gina's like, that's a big number. Ooh, we could get Travis back in the house for that. Come on. Emily goes, this is one more thing that you have to deal with. It's awful. And Shannon, I mean, this is Shannon. We got the tears. I just feel like it's one more thing. It's like extortion or something. In a talking head, Shannon goes, what is most important to John is that people think he's a good guy. And this is step one. Try to make Shannon look bad. And he's really taking drastic steps. Emily says, I don't disagree, Shannon. And Gina goes, that's the first thing I thought when it was going. It doesn't sit well with me. Now back to Alexis. Alexis is telling Tamra, oh, and now Shannon feels uncomfortable. Thank you, Heather, for not excluding me from this event because, that was really harsh. I love the game of the traitors. In a talking head, Alexis goes, my children know that their mom is going to fight for them no matter what the issue is. And we flash back to Heather and Lexus in the car and Heather going, I know this organization is important to you as it is to me. And this is such good visibility for them. And Alexis goes, and our kids. Alexis in a talking head goes, they should have freedom to do and live whatever life they want, title, name, whatever you want. There should be no laws guarding that. Hell yeah. I agree with Alexis this season. Finally. Alexis in the scene goes, I just want say whatever we need to say and put it to rest and move forward. But I don't think that's going to happen. We got to figure it out in this group. We got Alexis, us OGs. We got to figure it out in this group. And Heather's just kind of strangely looking at her. Tamra's looking at her as well. Back to Shannon. And it all just seems tragic, right? Okay, so we come back from break. There's some fun bop music. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time. And we see the main drag in Sonoma. It's a little rainy day. And Tamra and Alexis and Heather now are driving around Sonoma. And it was 0.3 miles from their cabin. And Tamra's like, we could have walked here. Why are we driving? They pull. This music is so distracting. It just keeps like, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time. And they pull up to Equality Wines, or Equality Vines. I'm sorry. And they're doing a wine tasting. We see some charcuterie. Oh my God. These housewives fucking die over a charcuterie board. Oh, they love a charcuterie board. Heather walks in. She knows everybody in the room. Tamra's introducing herself to people of like, I will find out things about your family. Hi, I'm Tamra. Hi. Everybody's hugging everybody. And we meet James. She is the family equality president and CEO. And Heather goes, James, we just read, we got an email that family equality put up a ballot in Florida. And they are going to reach a historic settlement with the State Board of Florida Education that resolves their official challenge to Florida's Don't Say Gay law. And Heather goes, would you explain this to us? Because I want to make sure what it is. And James says, we sued Florida for the Don't Say Gay because we couldn't talk about our families at school. So what that means is we can now say gay. We can now say gay in Florida, and we are so happy. Heather in a talking head says, this is exactly why we support family equality, because they are making real change in our country for families. Who says Housewives isn't good? I love, Heather totally set this lady up to be able to say what she needed to say. Hell yeah. So then we meet this guy, Jim. He's Equality Vines founder and activist, it says. So they're passing out the wine. I wonder if this is why Shannon wasn't invited to this one. They're like, we can't have her around a wine tasting. Heather says, Family Equality asked me to do a champagne collab with them, and 100% of proceeds are going to Family Equality. She says, I've learned so much from my kids. So we came up with 4 different sparkling wines, loosely based on one each of the kids. Oh man, I would have been just like a bottle of Jaeger. Is there Jägermeister wine? So now we do the wine tasting. Normal, explaining how wine works and the tasting and all that stuff. But Jenn Pedranti walks in and Tamra's like, did you get that money? And she's like, not really. And Tamra's like, I want to hear everything. And Jenn goes, it did not go how I thought it would go. And they're all like, ah. And Jenn goes, divorce sucks. In a talking head, Jenn says the last time Will and I, her ex, were in this courthouse, we adopted our son in 2019. The most amazing day of our lives. We were so united. We were so bonded that day. And she's tearing up in the talking head. And she says, now Will doesn't even look at me. It's so very vastly different. And this is what I'm talking about. I mean, it's really hard after a long-term relationship where you have children to come to grips and terms with the decisions that you've made. And it's really hard. And so Tamara's like, did he give you money? Did you get, what did you get? And they're like, no, I got temporary support. It's like 6,000. She gets 6,000 a month. And Alexis leans in and goes, with 5 kids, do you need John Janssen to loan you some facelift money? What's going on? And Jenn goes, yeah. And Heather goes, does that cover the kids' expenses? And Jenn goes, no, not the way we lived. Life is going to be completely different. Tamra in the talking head goes, 6,000 a month is not a lot of money with 5 kids at home. But she's living with Ryan. I feel like she's going to rely on that and not get a job. Jenn in this scene goes, I haven't seen you in a minute, Alexis. And then Tamra goes, all you have to do is open up Instagram. She's all over. And we flash to another Oscar party picture. And then Jenn's like, oh, yeah, I saw that. And then Tamra goes, and then Shannon was at R&D Cafe by herself with a notebook and a drink. And evidently she had a big reaction. And then we flash back to 3 hours earlier of Tamra in a car with Heather, Emily, and Shannon. And Tamra is so locked into this Instagram. No wonder she's posting all the time with her face, So she's reading this to Shannon, saying Shannon was drinking a cocktail by herself. And Shannon is like, you got to be kidding me. With friends like these, who needs enemies? Tamra's like, let me read you what the people are saying. And Tamra's like, I'm just the bearer of bad news. I didn't say it. But Shannon's like, you got to be kidding me. And Tamra and I talking goes, the Shannon we saw on Instagram was Shannon at a bar, sitting there with a little short glass by herself, like it's no big deal. Shannon in the scene goes, I ordered a Pellegrino and cranberry. Heather in a talking nigga goes, I mean, I've never sat at a bar and ordered a mocktail. I mean, does Heather just sit at bars by herself regardless? I only sit at bars and drink heavy alcohol by myself. Yeah, okay. But this was also, I mean, I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I mean, Tamra just wants all of this evidence, but she's having a little short glass after she's having fucking watch her friend or her ex and Lexi walk down a red carpet. Fuck. I mean, it's sad. It's sad. Jenn asks Alexis, hey, so you and Shannon are still not in a really good spot, huh? And everybody's laughing. And Alexis goes, I don't want to be in this spot. I don't. I don't, but I'm in love right now. Okay, so then we cut back to the other ladies, and they are at the spa. The girls are in their robes, ready to get their services done. They have champagne out. They have tea, and Shannon goes, I want a wellness tea. I want a wellness tea. So at least Shannon isn't drinking in this scene. Huh, Tamra? So all the girls are now sitting down. And we flash back to 30 minutes earlier when Gina is kind of walking across the lawn, she's like, so many problems in the old torso today. So now the ladies are like, what treatments are you going to do? And Gina's going to get a massage, but from the bottom up. And Gina's like, we meet Jess, the perfumer. I didn't even know what a perfumer existed. And they're like, tell me your favorite scent and tell me why. And Emily goes, do you mean like tacos? A perfumer comes in. Tell me your favorite scent. I'd be like, failure. Tell me your favorite tacos. And the lady's like, oh, okay, tacos. You could do tacos, I guess, but you have to say why. And Emily goes, because they're very meaty and juicy, and it's the perfect scent, like carnitas. Gina goes, great. And the talking head Emily goes, well, I do like the smell of tacos. I mean, you can't go wrong with meat and cheese. God bless you, Emily. So the lady goes, as we smell these, take the smell strip to your nose, close your eyes, and go somewhere. Emily has 2 of the smell strips, and she's poked them up both of her nostrils. And the perfumer goes, this scent allows you to connect to the place that you are. And they're all like, it's lovely. And Emily goes, this hurts my throats. Katie says, it smells like Christmas. And Shannon goes, I like this. I like this one. Gina goes, Shannon's over here just guzzling this perfumer's Kool-Aid down. The bitch had crystals in her wall, for God's sakes. We flash back to one of Shannon Beador's earlier seasons where Shannon in 2017 is telling the ladies, we had our feng shui lady come because before they poured the foundation in this house, I put some crystals in there. And then we have another flashback of Shannon talking to Tamra going, I went to a guy in LA. He put jewels inside my teeth. And Gina in a talking head goes, well, I also had a spiritual extraction though. And then we flash back to 2022 with Emily and Gina. I forgot about this until I saw it. And they had this lady doing like mime work, Marcel Marceau. And she's like, blow, blow. And Gina's blowing. And this lady's like, she's pulling like a rabbit, like just a multi-layer rabbit out of Gina's throat. She's like, go, 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 go. And Emily's trying not to laugh. It's completely ridiculous. And Gina's like, so I'm not one to talk, you know? Gina says, well, this is what I'm saying with this kind of self-help and wellness and all of that. Like, I love it. And if you can afford it, great, because there's a lot of money that goes into it and there's a lot of money to be made from it. But you got to say, like, listen, we all go through what we go through. I mean, Shannon putting crystals in her body and, you know, for the foundation of her house, it didn't really do that much, you know, but it probably provided her peace of mind. So that's what you're buying when you're buying all of this stuff, is like peace of mind. Because you look back and you're like, how did the crystal, I mean, they literally got divorced. How did the crystals help? Unless you're like, oh, the crystals magically split them up and now Shannon's happier because of it. Anyways, Gina goes, well, I got to tell you guys, you know, I got a new dog. And Emily's like, another dog? Yeah, I got another doodle. We named her Clover, so now we have Meatball for my people and Clover for Travi's people, Irish and Italian. You know, because when he moved, he's trying to fill up, you know, the void and sadness. And Katie goes, Gina getting a new puppy is kind of like a Band-Aid on the situation. And I totally get it. I had a third child with my ex-husband to try to put a Band-Aid on a situation. Dark. If you're that third child, I'm the Band-Aid. Gina in this scene goes, well, right now, we're just naturally at Travis's house a lot because I have construction going on. It's like a really big trigger for Travis. And I didn't even think about it when I did it from his perspective. And everyone's like, oh, he's taking it like you kicked him out and now you're making all these changes. And Gina's like, yeah, recently. Yeah, that's exactly what I said when I saw it. Like he leaves and you're like, oh, we're going to put a sunroom in here. This will be the library. This will be the recording studio. You know, I'd be like, what are we doing? And Gina goes, well, recently I'm worried about this is pulling my family apart, but I'm most worried for my daughter, Sienna, because she has a very hard time with transitions. And now I'm putting another huge transition in the mix. We flash back to 3 days earlier with the kids and Travis and Gina going, we can all stay at Trav's, or if you have an issue, you know, I will stay with you. And the kid's like, no, I want to go over there. And she's talking to her daughter saying, it's okay to be frustrated by these things. And Travis is like on the couch, like, I told you, why did we even do this in the first place? Gina goes, it's a sad thing, Sienna. It's not a sad thing, Sienna, because it's a happy day. We're going to work it out. I mean, the girl's 9 years old. And I got to tell you, Gina, you know, trying to do her best to, I mean, think about it when you were a kid, learning like real life situations for the first time and your emotions. Like I was on TikTok, I get a lot of like babies. I don't know why I get a lot of babies with dogs. I think it's like the cutest thing ever. But then I was watching this one where like two babies are like laid down next to each other and they look over and they notice each other and then they just start laughing, kind of like, isn't it crazy we were born? But, you know, like I also like all these crying videos. It's like, you know, humans, we got this thing called a heart and this thing called emotions. And it is so, I mean, it's taken me decades and decades to even be able to regulate any of those emotions. And I do it very poorly. But like, you know, when you don't know, when you haven't felt emotions, it's scary as fuck. No wonder babies are crying all the time. Like everything's coming at you and you're having to teach, your parents are having to teach you the ways of the world. So it's crazy. Gina says it's heartbreaking. It's hard. It really does seem hard, but I really want to know more about this Travis situation. Anyways, the phone rings and Shannon goes, "It's my lawyer. I got to take this. It's my lawyer." And they're like, "Of course, of course. Hey, Dave, what's going on, Shannon? Shannon Beador." Gina is continuing on with this conversation saying, well, also he's going, continuing thinking our ultimate goal is to get together again, to live together again. But now you're investing all this money into your home, Travis thinks. So what does that look like? And he has anger about it. And Emily goes, "You didn't think about that at all?" And she goes, "No." How did she not think about that at all? It was the first thing that I think about. And I don't even know Travis or Gina. But it's why, but I will say, I don't think she's lying. I think sometimes we just don't see the things that are right in front of our faces when it involves our own life. Emily says, "Are you perfectly content living separately for the rest of your lives?" And Gina goes, "Well, I don't know about that. I just know this step feels good. This is why I have gas. This is why I have gas," Gina says. And Shannon sits down at this moment. She goes, "This is why I have diarrhea." Hell yeah, Shannon Beador, a lady after my own heart. Stars, they're just like us. I love that Gina's like, "This is why I have gas." And Shannon's like, "Hold my beer. This is why I have constant diarrhea." And Emily's like, "Wait, how was your phone call? Can you tell me? Can you talk about it?" Shannon goes, and they're like, "What happened? What happened? What, are you crying?" And Shannon goes, "They didn't accept my offer. And I said, I'm not going to go up another penny. So they said, well, I'm going to send them a letter to say I've been authorized to accept certain things on your behalf." And Emily goes, "Shannon, I just don't want you to go to court." And Shannon goes, I don't know what to do." And Emily goes, "You can't handle it right now, Shannon." And Shannon's like, I just don't know. And you feel, but I got to say, I love that Emily, Gina, and Katie in this scene are being there for Shannon, because it really has to be insane. I mean, just, this is the worst case scenario on top of a worst case scenario. And they all know the information about the Ring camera video, but Shannon doesn't know yet. And Shannon goes, "It's principle though." And Emily's like, "I understand it's principle, but sometimes you just write a check for your mental health." And Gina goes, "Well, it's not just like principle. It's a lot of money. That's a big check, Emily." Emily and I talking goes, "It just feels very vindictive on John's part. Why do you want to hurt somebody so badly when you're so happy in your new relationship? Take the fucking check and go live your life." Exactly. Ding, 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 Gina. Take the fucking check. Take the half check, $75,000 that there is no contract for, half of that. Go buy Lexi that engagement ring and go be the happiest hap man on the face of the fucking earth, Johnny J. Shannon is like, I'm just so tired of it. I mean, let me live my fucking life. Emily goes, "This is the only reason I know you get upset when I say write a check, because I say, I don't want you to deal with this bullshit. Just be done with it." And Katie's like, "I agree." And a talking head, Katie goes, "Shannon, just be done. Get out of it. And if he's talking in the media, he's going to look like the asshole, not her." Emily in this scene goes, "Well, she has to deal with this. And we're going to go to dinner. She's going to sit at a table with Alexis." And Gina goes, "This just feels wrong. It feels wrong. It feels the wrongest." We're back over to the wine tasting. And they're talking about eating dinner. And Heather goes, "I have no seating chart for tonight." And Alexis goes, "Just sit me at one end of the table. Just be in between us, so at least I can talk without," and she rolls her eyes. And Heather goes, "This whole weekend is about inclusivity. And you are one of the reasons why I included Katie, because of inclusivity. I pulled Katie aside at the traders party and I said, listen, in the spirit of inclusion." And Tamra goes, "That's how you invited her?" Which was LOL. Tamra goes, "In the spirit of inclusion?" And Alexis is like, no, no, no. And Tamra's like laughing on Alexis's shoulder. And Alexis goes, and Heather goes, "Wait, why is that a bad thing to say?" And Tamra goes, "I'm only inviting you because I don't want to exclude you. That's why it's a bad thing." And Heather goes, "There was more to it. And then Jenn says to Heather, where are you with Katie? And Heather goes, we're fine. We're fine. Alexis goes, she said she tried to apologize to you and you just, you stopped her. And Heather goes, it was the but, the because, my friends, this. She tried a qualifying thing and I didn't want to go down that slippery slope. So I said, look, why don't we just be okay? And Tamra goes, you should get to know her because you haven't got to know her. And Heather goes, no. There's no we in this. Why wasn't I given the grace of getting to know me? And Tamra goes, the more I get to know Katie, the more I feel like Gina was behind it. So now we're back in the Gina of it all and this paparazzi shit. We flash back to 4 days earlier where it looks like these ladies are in some kind of dance aerobics class. It's Katie, Jen, Pedranti, and Tamra 4 days earlier. And Tamra goes, oh, Gina told me about you. Gina, Gina hung you out to dry. And Katie's like, what? She's trying to get out of being in trouble. Like you said, I should say it, Gina. And we flash back to the paparazzi conversation. And Katie goes, well, now then I did say it. And now you're retracting. She's that angry about this. And she's the one that told me to say this. It does feel like a setup. To me, it doesn't feel like a setup at all. They've lost me on this one. In this scene, Heather goes, well, I just feel it's not true. But the bottom line is this. I can be polite. I can have fun. I can be in group settings. It doesn't make me have to be best friends. It's okay. And Lexi goes, cordial. And then Jen Pedranti goes, Alexis, have you thought about talking to Shannon? And Lexi goes, that's all I want. That and John's dong. It's all I want. It's all I want. And Jen goes, even if you just said, Shannon, you and I need to talk. And Tamra goes, no. And Heather goes, no talking. And Alexis goes, I'm not doing it at this event. No. Heather goes, no talking. No. Tamra goes, well, by the way, she called me the other day when I was packing. And she said, if she didn't settle or pay John, that he was filing a lawsuit against her. And Alexis is just shaking her head. And Tamra goes, did she pay? This is the game of Housewives, but it's all personal conversations that never remain personal conversations. So Tamra asks, did she pay? And Alexis goes, I said, Johnny, just settle. You don't need it. And he said, fuck no. He said, no. Are you kidding? Everything I've gone through, and I get it. These fucking Ferragamos starting to wear through the fucking belt. No, don't work anymore. Fuck that. Fuck that. Johnny J said, fuck that. Johnny J's a bad boy. He's from the wrong side of the tracks. I'm the bad boy of podcasting, and Johnny J's the bad boy of life. Oh my God. Just settle, Johnny J. Just settle. Do we think Alexis really said to John, just settle? And what kind of relationship is it that if you're the person, the love of your life, the new love of your life says this, that you don't go, yeah, you know what? My lady's right. Live easy breezy, Johnny J. Nah, fuck it. I'm going to sue her. Fuck it. Alexis says John believes she has ruined his name and ruined his reputation through the community. What community? The quiet woman community? We flash back to that night at dinner at Gina's a couple episodes ago. And Alexis says, all these lies keep resurfacing, that he doesn't pay for anything, that he's the alcoholic. And Emily says, those are things that Shannon told us. Alexis in a talking head goes, all gloves are off. And Alexis tells the ladies, he's not stopping you guys. I love it. He's like a ticking time bomb, you guys. When Johnny J sets his mind to something, he doesn't stop. Anyways, Alexis says, if her attorney came back with something really good, if her attorney doesn't come back with something really good, he'll file a lawsuit. And then she shakes her head like, oh, Lord. oh, zoinks. It almost feels like that's where the laugh track would be, like a sympathetic laugh from the audience. Oh. Anyways, we're back at the ladies' spa with Shannon and Gina and Emily and Katie. And Gina's like, she should just stay out of it. She's got to stay out of this business. I mean, for her sake. I mean, the video thing, I can't. Zoinks, Gina, what'd you do? The video thing, I can't. And Gina, man, I don't know if Gina listen, did Gina truly slip up here, or did a producer go, hey, if you slipped up, will you throw you an extra couple thousand this, the video thing? And Shannon's been crying, but Shannon looks up and she goes, what video thing? And Emily goes, she doesn't know. And Gina just looks like, oh my God. Oh God. And then we flash back to Gina talking to Katie. Gina going, Alexis brought up the fact that there were some videos. And Heather goes, yeah, I heard this. Are we supposed to tell Shannon? And Heather goes, I don't know. I honestly don't want to be involved. And Gina's like, so Tamra didn't tell her? And Heather goes, no. Back in the scene, Shannon asks again, what video thing? What video? The mutual masturbation? No, what video thing? What video thing? What video thing? And Gina's like, make me a bird so I can fly far, far away. She goes, I don't want to do that. What video thing? Shannon keeps asking, what video thing? And then in a talking head, Gina goes, I just fucked up. And Shannon's looking at Emily now. What? And Gina goes, I don't want to talk about it. I want to go get another dog and do something to my place without Travis. I don't want to talk about it. And Shannon goes, is it bad? And Gina goes, no. Katie goes, she said he has Ring cameras that have video. And Shannon goes, on the night of my DUI? What is the details? I don't even remember. Then we flash back to Katie with Emily. Katie going, they have videos like Ring footage cameras of her almost running over his daughter. And Emily going, oh my God. Back in this scene, Shannon goes, Jesus. You know what, you guys? And she starts crying. I'm working so fucking hard on myself right now. Are you trying to take me down? I'm so angry right now. And everyone's like, I know. And everybody's like, oh my God. He's like, I don't think that's going to be a thing. No, video. Who even watches videos anymore? She goes, you want to know something? I can't do it. I can't. She's like fully breaking down. And she's like, ah! Like just Edward munches the scream. She's like, he's a monster. God, your heart goes out to her in this moment. Think about it. The crew already knew. Everybody knew. So we come back from commercials. He's a monster. I am working so fucking hard on myself. And it just seems like trying to take me down. And Gina just keeps going, I know. And Emily is just still. Like, I think Emily is just like, what do I even say in this moment? She's like literally thinking about the scent of tacos right now. She's like, God, I wish I had a carnitas taco right now. Or a fucking scent of carnitas. So Shannon's just like crying. And Gina goes, well, I think your lawyer needs to check in and say, this guy's trying to fucking extort my client. And Shannon goes, I got to go call my lawyer. And Gina goes, yeah, but then that might lead to trial still. And Shannon's like, I'm literally shaking. Like Lisa Barlow. I'm shaking right now. I can't believe it. So Shannon's like shaking, walking out to call back her lawyer, having to pay probably another $1,000. And Gina just makes this face of like, oops. And Emily goes, think of what she has to go through. Katie goes, this is gutting to watch her. This is so, I feel sick to my stomach. And Emily goes, yeah, it feels very extortion-y to me. I mean, the timing, Emily says. Emily and Gina, all these ladies are saying the same stuff us as an audience are saying. And I just feel great that we haven't been gaslit as an audience into being like, no, this isn't extortion. Like, no, I love that they're all thinking the same damn things that we have been thinking this season. We hear Shannon going, I'm freaking out right now off camera. Shannon goes, it's just a lot. Now, the lady comes in going, hey, I'm going to take you guys to the back for your services now. And the therapist will come back and grab you if you want to follow me back. And Gina just still has this like oops face on of like, did I do that? She's like, okay, yeah. Anyways, so Emily and Katie go back and Gina stays. She's like, this is not good. I feel horrible. I'm genuinely concerned about Shannon. She's hanging on by a thread here. We see Shannon in the mirror in the bathroom, like wiping off the tears off her face. And Gina's like, I am afraid that I just pushed her off the cliff. So Shannon walks into the room. Gina's there. And Shannon goes, hey, I'm sorry. So I just said to the lawyer, pay him whatever he wants. I hope he rots in hell. I swear I hate him. I hate him. And Gina gets up and goes to hug her. It's like, I'm so sorry. And Shannon goes, no, I can't tell you how much I thank you for telling me this. I gave him what he wants. And Gina's like, this sucks. There's no getting around it, right? There's no getting around it. And Shannon's just like, yeah. I mean, think about that, you know? You're in love with somebody. You're there in a multi-year relationship. And when you're in those kind of relationships, even if it's not a great relationship, you don't think it's going to end this way of all ways. This way, on top of running your car into a house 30 feet from his house. And Gina, man, Gina is clocked in this season. I'm so impressed with her. Anyways, Shannon goes, I just feel like I'm wiped out. Would you mind if I just went to the room? I can't do the service. And Gina's like, yeah, take a bath, take a nap. Yeah. Shannon goes, I'm just going to go lay down for a little bit. And Gina hugs her and says, I'm so sorry. I hope you feel better after your nap. And Shannon goes, God has a plan. God has a plan. So I always, that it's like the crystals. Like, let's talk about God for a second. Hey guys, what if we get into a philosophical conversation about God during episode 9 of Real Housewives of Orange County? No, but you know, you hear that all the time. God has a plan. And I think it's one of those things like crystals. It gives you strength to think about, because sometimes the horrors of your own life, you're like, how the fuck, how is this real? But you're like, God has a plan. God has a plan. And I think, you know, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, is God in the minutia? God's like, well, the facelifts, we've got that. Okay. So he put up the money. I'm not seeing a contract signed with Shannon, but I just don't even know where to interfere. Like God, like going, I don't know where to interfere here. Also, loving Gina this season. Good on her. That's going to count towards her in heaven. So good, good, good. I got to tell you, I do not like this Johnny J. I know I created him. I know. And I remember that day because I was like, God, you're too tired to create more people. And I did. And then Johnny J got created. And, you know, listen, Lexi's a little out there. I love that she loves me, but Lexi's a little out there. Created her too. So I figured, hey, you know, John and Lexi both, I kind of did that at the end of the 6th day. So why don't we have them be together? But I got to get a plan for Shannon. I got to get a plan. Oh, shit. I also got all these wars and famine and all this shit around the world. I got to probably take care of that. This is more of kind of a hobby, is taking care, like just God in the minutia of these housewives' lives. He's like, oh my God, dealing with Jen Shaw a couple seasons ago was wild. Still can't get Eric and Jane to, return those earrings. Come on. Anyways, Shannon awkwardly smiles and she's like, okay, bye. And she's like, I'll check on you when I get out of here. And Shannon's like, putting on the smile. Okay. And Gina mumbles to herself. She goes, it's not as relaxing as I thought it was going to be. What would have made this scene even better if Gina just tooted at the end of that? This is not as relaxing as I thought it was going to be. Like just a little Gina toot would go a long way. So we get out of that very traumatic scene. We have more Dawn Ranch location shots. Heather, Jenn, Alexis, and Tamra get out of their car, and they're trying to find their ways back to their hotel rooms. You can tell they're a little buzzed because Alexis is like, I brought a map. I know where we're going. Oh, we're doing a little fun find our room scene. Emily and Katie are getting their services, and they're like getting in like a big, like a little mini big pot of boiling water, and they're talking about burning their buttholes. Like I think that's what Katie, like, oh my God, I'm burning my butthole. And Emily's like, I'm burning mine too. And then they're saying, I wonder, how Shannon's doing, what Shannon's doing right now. And then they cut to Shannon going into her little wood cabin, just bawling like, oh. And they're like, do you think, she's going to go to dinner tonight? And Emily's like, no, I don't think so. Not after that. And then Katie goes, are you friends with Alexis? Are you good friends? Are you close? And Emily goes, I mean, I've known Alexis for years, but she's not like in my tight group of friends. And he goes, well, I was just maybe you could talk to her. And Emily goes, I would be comfortable pulling Alexis to the side and say, I know you feel that you're right. And I know that you feel that you're defending him, but you're not seeing the other side that we're seeing. We're seeing a woman on the verge, on the brink. So maybe instead of being on the path of vengeance and defending John, you should look at it like it's a path of destroying another woman, and maybe look at it like that. Emily in a talking head says, I'm afraid that Alexis just isn't aware of how detrimental this is to Shannon, how much it's hurting her, how much it's affecting her life. Emily goes, her kids are gone. She doesn't have a partner. She doesn't have a boyfriend. She doesn't have a husband. Geez, Emily, poor Shannon watching back this episode. She has to go on Love Hotel on Bravo on a dating show. Emily goes, she's a mother. I mean, can we have some sympathy for the woman? I mean, maybe you can see things from her perspective. I feel like Alexis would be reasonable to that. Emily says, this is dirty. This is salacious. This is gross. It's almost like a season of Real Housewives. Emily says it feels like the most longest drawn out traumatic breakup ever. And Katie's like, yeah, ever. It does feel like we're just keep drawing this out. I mean, imagine also Johnny J getting engaged to Alexis, like on the season that they're taught. I mean, it's just so bizarre. Sometimes you want to wait a little bit just to get out of the negative past before you make a bold proclamation about your future. Like sometimes you just want to do that. Not Johnny J. He's like, I'm in there, baby. These Ferragamos are running towards love. So we come back from commercial for our final moments. And Gina's, going out of the spa. She's like, thank you so much. This was wonderful. And Gina's like, it's raining. Oh my God, our hair's going to get destroyed. And so Emily goes, this is like when you leave from college on a walk of shame as they stumble out of the spa. She's like, when you walk out of a dorm and your underwear's in your purse, you haven't brushed your teeth. And I don't know, they're joking. It's cute. Now all the ladies, we have a montage of them getting ready, getting all sexy, gussied up for dinner. We got Heather with some glam and Heather going, I'm so cute. Tamra calls Sophia, her daughter, going, hey, what's up? I'm just checking in with you. And what are you doing? And Sophia's like, nothing. She's like, what are you doing? Nothing. I'm not doing nothing. And Tamra's like, oh my God, the one word answers for everything. Come on. And Sophia's like, you asked me a question. I'm giving you the answer. That's the answer. I don't have to be like really complex. Tamra goes, just wondering. I feel like Sophia is about to get a podcast on Tamra's network. She's like, well, I remember when Spencer used to do this and, now he talks my ear off. So it changes. Okay. More shots of the foliage around the cabins. And then we see Ryan FaceTiming with Jenn Pedranti, and Jen's like, how are the kids? And he's like, great, we're at a casino. No, he's like, good. Dawson's at volleyball. Greg just got back from volleyball, and Evie is home. And Jen's like, are you on for dinner tonight? Or is Will handling it? And Ryan's like, nope, we're picking up some grub and picking it up and bringing it back home. And Jenn goes, baby, you are freaking amazing. I'm a lucky girl. My kids are getting fed. I'm a lucky girl. These kids are going to have food in their bellies tonight. And Ryan goes, hey, I'm very lucky as well. I get to sleep with you naked every night. I'm very lucky as well. I get to do butt stuff. Doc, hey, smell you later. Okay, here we go. We're at the final tragic, traumatic scene. Heather Dubrow is sitting in a chair in her cabin, her estate at this the ranch. And Shannon comes in, still in her bathrobe, knocks on the door. And Heather's like, oh, I just saw you come in through the window, Shannon. Come on in, Shannon Beador. Shannon has like gels under her eyes. And Heather's like, you don't look like you're ready for dinner. Are you okay? And Shannon's like, not really. Shannon's very quiet. Not really. She's speaking in very whispered. Not really. Heather goes, how was the spa? And Shannon goes, I didn't really get to do any spa. I didn't make it. Why? I just hope this is okay. I've been toying with whether I should come in and talk to you because I know this is your trip. And Heather goes, you can always come talk to me. You can always talk to the Dubrow. And Shannon's like, I don't want to put a damper on anything, but I have something that's weighing on me. I just feel like I need to get it out. I'm shaking right now. And she's trying to like keep it in. She's like, ooh, like when you're trying not to cry, ooh, her lips are quivering. Ooh. And now Heather comes and sits next to Shannon. She goes get some tissues. Here. And Shannon's like, no, thank you. It's just, just wiping her eyes. Pause. And Heather's just watching Shannon. And Shannon goes, I had a deadline today to get back to John. And Heather's like, with the money? She's like, mm-hmm. And so I made him an offer last week, and I said, I don't want to pay him any more money. And then I came back and Emily said, no, you need to, and Heather goes, you need to pay him. And Shannon goes, yeah. And Shannon goes, yeah. And then Gina said, because of the video. And I said, what video? And I didn't know that Alexis is telling everybody. I didn't know anything about everything. It's just every day. And Heather goes, yeah, there's something more every day. And Shannon goes, he wants to clear his name. And I'm not lying. I'm not lying about John. When I started my relationship with John, I did pay for everything. I did. First couple of years. I did. Does it make him look bad? I don't know, but I'm not lying about that. In a talking head, she goes, I told the truth. I did pay for things in the first half of our relationship. Well, now that's a little bit of I did pay for things, not I did pay for everything. So she changed the verbiage there. I did pay for things in the first few years of our relationship. And Shannon is crying like, freaking bills. I don't. In the talking head, she goes, he wants everyone to think he's a good guy. And I'm sorry. I know what the truth is. In the scene with Heather, she goes, you don't know Heather, everything. In her talking head, Shannon goes, I don't need to defend him anymore. Shannon tells Heather, when I had my DUI that night, I lost control of the car and I hit the house kitty corner to him and I hit a planter. The police were there and I went unconscious and I woke up in the hospital. And so, which by the way, so this could be true, but remember she hit, but then she got out with Archie and started walking down the road as she was bleeding. Now, who knows if she really, truly doesn't remember any of this? I mean, had to have been completely traumatic. So who knows? But Shannon goes, I had a good friend call me about 10 days after, and he said, how many seconds did the accident happen after you backed out of the driveway? And I said 3 to 5 seconds max. And he said, well, I find it strange that John didn't come running after you. And Heather goes, oh. Heather goes, do you really believe in your heart he did not hear that? And she goes, I don't know. So I look back on my text messages and I didn't remember that I did this, but I guess I took a photograph of myself after the accident and I sent it to him. And at 1:30 in the morning, he texted me back and said, what the heck is going on? The cops just brought Archie here. Where are you? Hours later. And Heather goes, he just ignored the picture? And she's now crying. She's like, immediately, she's like, and I guess he just went to bed. So like he saw the photo and then went to bed. But the big kind of information here, and I will say I was already kind of aware of this, was the proximity to John's house from when she got into the accident and how she like sped off from his place, obviously angry about something. And there's no way people are saying that John Janssen did not hear this huge hubbub. And then how long after this was Archie brought to John Janssen's place? How did they even know to bring Archie to John Janssen's place? I mean, so many questions about this. But this man, and what I'm wondering too is, was he in a state of impairment at that point as well? Had they been drinking together that night? I mean, it does raise a lot of questions, but this man did not go and see what was going on for an accident kitty corner to his house. Now, I do wonder if the friend she's talking about is Jeff Lewis, because Jeff Lewis did a radio show months and months and months ago where he was talking about this same thing of like, yeah, she like from where she got into an accident to where John's house is, there's no way he didn't think that John Janssen did not hear this accident. So anyways, now she's pulling up the photo on the phone and she's like crying. And Heather goes, maybe he didn't see it. Maybe he didn't see it. And I'm talking to Heather goes, I feel terrible for Shannon. I can't even imagine what she's been through. She was almost unconscious. She hit her head. She was very impaired that night. How much does she even remember of this? But honestly, I want to be supportive as much as I can. That's how I feel. And Shannon's like, can I show you the picture? And Heather's like, you're going to show me the picture? She's like, yes, I am. And her hands are shaking. She's like, I want to show you. And she's like sniffling, snot, everything. It's just like a really dark moment. And then Shannon pulls up the phone. And it's Tamra after her face surgery. Wah! No, it's not funny at all. No, it's not. It's Shannon Beador with blood streaming down the left side of her face. And Heather goes, "Oh, Shannon." And Heather takes the phone and like zooms in on the photo. And I will tell you, I mean, Shannon must have been tanked because she just has this zombie look in the photo. I mean, it's a really scary photo. You guys saw it. There's scary photo of just the blood dripping down. And she just is like looking directly in the camera. But I will say also, not to make light, she also looks great. I mean, like if you put the blood, I mean, like the makeup kind of seems on point, the hair, like she does, like even with the blood, and that's thanks to Johnny J with that face of money. But like, my God, this is a scary photo. And Shannon is just, and she's like all like she's so pale and she's in the white bathrobe, and I mean, she's just so your heart goes out to her. And Shannon is just sniffling. And Heather goes, "If that's true, that's fucked." And then one last time of Shannon going, "Ah!" And that's it. In the screener that I am watching, they did not put the scenes for next week, but it says to be continued at the end of this week's episode. So we'll have part 2 in Sonoma with Heather's amazing event for families. We'll see what Alexis says, because how does Shannon go to dinner and not talk about the video? And really, Shannon doing all of this and then talking about it and being thankful that it was talked about. And, finally she was told, because it really is that much darker that all of these people know about the video except for Shannon, that it's been talked about in all of these scenes. Think about how damaging that is too, for somebody that's kind of on the brink, to know that everybody genuinely has been talking about her and this situation. Oh man. Well, you guys, we did it. I know this was another long one. I love it. I love this show. I do. I love the season. I'm not apologizing for doing long. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love you guys. I'm going to go on vacation now for a couple of days, but don't worry. We're still putting out shows. We'll still do all the stuff. Almost finished with the Vanderpump episode for the Patreon. So yeah, join the Patreon, patreon.com/so bad it's good. Also, Maritza Lopez, I talked about this on yesterday's show. Go check out her podcast that's going to be out on Saturday as well. And it's called Love is Latino, a Love is Blind podcast. I think she's releasing the first 4 episodes. So go support Batty family. And that's it, you guys. Have the best weekend ever. I hope you're in the midst of having the best weekend ever. And then join us on Monday for an all-new Pop Culture Roundup. Bye, you guys. I'm sorry, Shannon. Tamra, stay off your phone. Bye.